No entrance music?
Welcome, everybody. Yo, you do the intro. I'm just
good.
here. I'm a guest. You guys are the actual talent. I'm just here to play.
I thought you were. You are the talent.
It's going to be a long show.
Welcome, everyone, tonight to the Suffolk County Drill Officials fundraiser at Fatty's. Joined by Twan Simone.
It is
Chris
good to
Murphy,
be here. Oh, I cut you off.
Man, great to be here.
And going to do a little preseason show.
Fired up.
Going to get this season going, get it jumping.
Yeah.
2022 is here.
How is it 2022 already?
I know.
That's a crazy number.
I know. That's like an old person thing to say, but yes, I agree.
30 years ago, I remember something.
You remember 30 years ago saying, wow, I can't believe it's 1992.
And I won.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
That's our first toast to the camera right there.
Oh, there you go.
Hey. There isn't a lot of rules here today, everybody. We are drinking.
That's of course. It's the only way to do it.
First confession right off the bat, we're drinking. No, but we are here today to talk all things drill team competition. And we did this for a long time, different folks coming and going, but now finally we get a chance to come back. We didn't do it in last year, obviously, with COVID. It really is great to be back in the mix and feeling like things are coming together again and normal, right?
Totally agree, Murphy. You know, I haven't really been on the radio in over a year. You know, Artie, you guys have been doing a great job holding down the fort week in, week out. Lenny, Paulie, I know you guys are listening.
Yeah, I'm not there much either. But.
Billy Cornell. Oh, well,
this is
there you
what's
go.
nice. I literally get my buddies back, you know?
Well, here we are. And, you know, it's kind of nice, too, because we're going into this year, and it's like, you know, COVID's in the rearview mirror. It's like, here we go. I know 2021 wasn't impacted by that, but now here we are, 2022. We have a full slate ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Like I said the other day in our little group text, thank God the mayor has lifted the big vax thing, so now guys can race outdoors.
I was concerned.
Yeah, I heard CI was going to have the mandate.
A lot of guys, not anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
We're going to lose a lot of players that way over in CI, so I was concerned. You know, everybody knows Ryan Murphy is the Kyrie Irving of...
yeah, I heard the commissioners over there are pretty tough.
Yeah, yes, it is true, actually. Exactly right. All right, so first thing we're going to do tonight, we're going to talk about a little bit of we'll start with a standard note and talk about one of our fellow racers that we lost within the last couple months. Artie, I'll let you lean into it, and we'll get our guest getting over here while you start up.
Yeah, so we're going to be bringing Heavy in, but we're going to do a little tribute here to Jeffy Gebhardt from Islip. Obviously, everybody in the racing community knows what happened in the last about a month and a half ago with Jeffy's passing. So it's, you know, kind of a little bit of a somber note, but we think it's the proper thing to do here, and you know, just do a little thing. We're going to bring Heavy in right now, Heavy Kev from Islip. And just do a little tribute, like you said, and talk about him a little bit and give him his due. So Heavy, if you're...
Hang on, we got to turn on your mic, too. There's a little button on the top there. See that red light next to there? Boom. He don't know how to put it on either, or his head is way too large for
there you go.
One of the two. Hey, Will? Oh, boy.
Hey, you see how Willie?
You good here?
First handshake I've ever gotten.
You are in.
What's up, man?
Sweet.
I can't wait to watch out of the replay.
I guess I'm not racing today.
Yeah, a little cord issue going
Willie,
on.
there's a camera right there. Get out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Willie McCarthy. Willie McCarthy.
Also known as Governor David Patterson right here, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving it up for Governor Patterson. You're in
and get out of the camera.
It's a good appearance from Will.
Willie. Hey, watch your mouth.
Say it a little. What did you say?
Yeah. Look.
Willie making the pass
a 10-second
through.
delay on the camera feed, and watching him mosey through is the best. It's wonderful.
Chris, Willie wasn't a fan of you.
Yeah, I know. Are you you with us there, dude?
Breaker 1-9.
Yep.
Here he is. He is with
I'm in.
So we have, go ahead. You do this.
Yeah. So again, we have Hev with us.
Kevin
Obviously,
Jansen of the Islip Wolves.
We appreciate you joining us.
No.
In this, you know, we had a little text the other day, but we appreciate you jumping on with us and you know, just talking about Jeffy a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe a lot of people that don't know as much about him, people upstate that that weren't down here for, you know, some of the days after can learn a little bit more about him. So, you know, we're going to start with. Started racing when? And joining the fire department. Like, when did he join
Jeffy
Islip?
joined the fire department of June of '09 and
Okay.
started racing the week later.
Okay.
So yeah, he joined the team quite early in his career in Iceland.
And now you're racing at that point as well?
Yeah, I began racing in '07.
So you're 2 years on the team. He joins with you. Does he have any heritage in racing? Is there any generational thing with him?
None at all. He just joined the department. We swept him up, and he was our boy.
Right, scooped him up right away. You know, see a new guy come in. Let's get this guy in the team, young guy.
Yeah, he had a few friends in the fire department. He was an athlete. He was a lacrosse player, so
Okay.
we know we could use him.
Sure. I'm gonna have to throw my glasses on here. Getting old,
Oh, he's
heavy.
going to the glasses, folks. So I want to know how he became Jeffy. His real name's Jesse, right?
Yeah, he
He was Jeffy to everybody else. Hey, what's up, kid?
He got the nickname from another great wolf, Robbie Moon. They nicknamed him
Robbie Moon is the nickname guy.
Giver.
He's the giver, the giver of nicknames.
Jeffy.
Got it,
Yeah,
okay.
obviously his name was Jesse, and somehow Robbie started calling him Jeffy from the character of the ringer.
Just like how it goes.
So I
Yeah.
mean, if any of you guys seen the movie,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Fair enough. But obviously it's stuck
Oh yeah, it's
to the point that, even last month, like I heard the name Jeffy as much as I heard Jesse. It was natural to call him Jeffy.
Well, there was guys in our own department that thought his name was Jeff.
Yeah.
They thought his real name was Jeff.
They would be like, "Hey, where's your friend Jeff at?" I'm like, "I don't know."
And you don't correct them.
No.
No,
Just
God,
let him
no,
go with it.
absolutely
You got to
not.
let that run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Absolutely.
It's craziness. Absolutely. So for me, one of the things that I actually had a couple guys checking in, but he ran breaker for the team for over a decade, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah,
a couple
he-
breaks maybe, but for over a decade he was running breaker.
He began breaking in 2011 when our team started going through a little bit of a rebuilding phase. And then he broke from 2011 all the way through 2021. Maybe he didn't do both B and C, but he had ran one or two. And he had a short stint climbing B ladder.
Really?
Really?
Of course, the Wolves had to bring back Billy Moon, but yeah, he had a short stint. He climbed B ladder in Lindenhurst in 2011.
He was in the non-Billy Moon window.
Yeah, well, we were going through a rebuilding phase, so Jeffy had started climbing. The only time he made it up the ladder was Lindenhurst of 2011.
Right.
Through weeks of practice, but I don't know, he showed up that day.
How many drills did he run ladders in? Just a couple, I guess.
One and done.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't have that one under my belt. I wish I climbed one contest to be able to say I ever did it, but
Not that many people knew he even climbed.
yeah.
So
You probably be
short
as good as
stint.
me at it. So.
689 in 2011 at the Lindenhurst invite.
That's it.
Had to get that in there,
Pull that real quick.
Hey, he made it to the top.
That's a key right there.
That's what matters right there, So he obviously gets in the fire department in the city as well. But again, you said no family, right? No, he just fell into
In Iceland now, his great-grandfather was a fireman in New York City.
right. And took the test with you.
Yes.
Right? Or did EMS with you too? Because you
Yeah, we
originally
both
were
went
in
to EMS, and then we both got into the fire academy together December 17.
Yeah.
Carpooled.
Oh, there you go.
Spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, that carpool is usually a long ride. I can attest to that. It's usually 2 hours sometimes. It's every day, and you get to be
2
really
hours there,
close
2
to a
hours
guy
home.
at that point.
Oh yeah, we were close to begin with already. Me and him, we'd worked multiple jobs together prior and stuff. So.
Right. When I went to the academy, the guy who was stood next to me was the Bayshore Redskins' Danny Boucher.
Sounds familiar.
Two-time B-ladder winner in the state drill, Danny Boucher, right? Two?
1B, 1C.
1C.
Yeah. Oh, and 1C, right. It's
02, 03 back to back. Yep.
But him and I see him still. It's a hug. It's not a handshake. It's a hug, man. I love that guy.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
basically carried me over the finish line in the run at the end to get me to finish.
Not a surprise.
Yeah. No, because he's a good guy. As opposed to, but
He's a keeper.
yeah. But in any event, I can attest to like what that relationship is, and that's what you guys had coming out of the academy, and then continuing on. And now you've been in the fire department in the city now for
Yeah, we just hit 4 years.
4 years. It's
Fireman, yeah.
It felt like more than that.
Yeah, it feels like one.
So now, and he had to take a little break for the academy too, kind of like you did, right?
Yes.
So you guys were summer academy, right? I think so.
Yes, actually.
Basically, the only time he really took a break from the team, right?
It wasn't even much of a break.
Yeah.
I
Because I remember you were running Heisman by the end of the year.
Yeah, by the end of the year, yeah. He had continued breaking throughout the whole time.
Right.
But he pretty much raced consistently from 2011 through 2021.
Really?
Yeah, he really never missed a beat.
And was there relationships? I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But
No.
Was there relationships around the state that like I know you guys are close to Maine Transit, for example. He probably loved those trips. Like, was there?
No, he was kind of a.
He's a quiet guy.
He's a quiet guy.
Yeah.
Unless he had a couple of beers in him, yeah, he very rarely talked, or left our beat truck for that matter. Like,
yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what kind of role did he, besides say breaking, right? And then he was involved in the last three, a few guys as well.
Yeah. He was actually like a great fill-in guy. This year alone, he showed up to North Belmore. He needed someone to run first man. He had ran on the ladder in the past, but probably hasn't ran three-man in more than 5 years.
Yeah.
They threw him into the first man spot, and we ended up winning three-man ladder that day.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Billy Moon about it. He's like only the 12th man since like 1970 in Islip to win three-man. There's very few people that have actually ran three-man and won the contest in any tournament.
Really?
Right.
So
That's pretty
for
wild.
him to step into the team and run the first man spot and get 5 points is kind of shows like how he was in racing.
And just say, like, in the Wolves nucleus, say back at camp, like where was his role? Was he that quiet? Was he the quiet guy?
He was
the
napping.
practical
He
practical
slept a
joke
lot.
guy? The quiet practical
He
joke
was.
guy?
You could probably find him sleeping in the van.
Yeah.
He was a hands-on, smart guy. He could fix anything. But you go back to camp, he's either eating or sleeping. That's pretty much it.
So now, what is the legacy of Jeffy going forward? Well, I assume you guys are going to do a tribute to him at some point this summer, Lake Trophy, something along those lines. But even going forward, like, you guys had a tough loss in 2021. Maybe you don't want to talk about it, but that's what we're here to talk about is racing. So cover that.
That's it.
But I know you guys are reloading, hungry for 2022 before this loss, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that now Jeffy's going to be the rally cry for you guys
I'm
going
sure,
through this season, right?
It's going to be hard going back to practice, just knowing the stuff he did. He's the only guy that could pack our pump hose. So that's one of the biggest things we talked about is like, Jeffy packs our pump hose. Who's going to do it?
doing it?
Who's going to do it?
Right.
I mean, it's a big deal for us. I mean, he'll always be racing with us. He's the breaker for both of our team records. So the 12:34 and the 5:50 or 7:57.
5 would have been great. That would have been
Mick crushed it. So I mean, he has our team records as breaking. It's going to be a tough guy to step in for. It's definitely going to be missed.
I mean, you guys are obviously going to be, guns blazing for 2022 for that state drill. Trying to stop the Northlandy three-peat, and I'm sure you guys will be, carrying his flag, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Literally, actually, I think, right?
You talk about, say, like he's obviously holding team records, and you look at the breaker. So the breaker's one of those guys in the sport that's kind of like an unsung guy. Nobody focuses on the breaker, but the only way you really know the breaker does his job is when the nozzle, when you're scoring points and the nozzle man's lighting it up. He's not doing it without that guy.
Yeah.
You
don't really see the breaker until you need the breaker.
Exactly. Yeah, and you don't. And obviously, I'm close with Matt and stuff like that. And I think about the years, going through with Matt running and talking to him after, I'll talk to him on a Saturday night or a Sunday what his runs look like. And it was never, Jeffy never came up because he did his job. So that's if you're not talking about him, it's really a good thing. And stuff like that. So that's, it's a tribute to that he's that guy, not everybody knew his name, but he did his job every week. So it's
First men and three-man
Definitely.
breakers, right? They're like the same conversation, right?
Yeah. There you go.
No one knows your name. You're the best.
It seems, right. I mean, it seems to fit his personality. When you wrote in the text the other day that he was number 4 in seniority. He started racing in 2009, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. And that's no disrespect at all. He's just a quiet guy. You like those guys on the team, those utility
AJ doesn't
guys.
count in that group, right?
Yep.
He's number 3.
I was gonna
I know.
I was gonna say
3.
We're talking talking legends of racing. Kind of pops in your mind is AJ Root.
He did the Hall of Famer, man.
Hall of Famer. There you go.
Hall of Famer.
So we're going to close it at that, but Heavy Kevy Jansen, thanks, man.
Thank you guys. Awesome job.
And sorry, go ahead.
We didn't get a chance really to focus on the racing stuff when we were paying tribute to him a month ago. So I want to take this opportunity. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. And you got to also say, I mean, the tribute of the volunteer fire service that showed up to memorialize him. And I know the city fire, the guys that day, and what Main Street looked like. Amazing.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome to see everyone,
Unforgettable.
Yeah.
You know?
There was drill team. I mean, there was racing guys at the Islip every night hanging out, doing our thing.
I was through it in my racing career with Cav, so I know what it's like when you go through something like that, and what that nucleus of, I always call it's the greatest fraternity in the world, is drill team racing. And it's amazing how close and tight-knit that fraternity can come in a heartbreak situation, how everybody is there for you. So it was impressive to see and amazing to see. And I think you guys, as you go through time, will appreciate and look back on, wow, what a fraternity and what a nucleus of brothers we truly do have.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely in the racing community, there's a group inside the group, and that's the drill team. So.
Heart and soul.
So.
Thanks, Heavy.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you
guys.
All right.
Condolences to the Islip Wolves.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
Family of Jeffy.
Heavy Kevy Jansen, thank you, pal. Thanks, man, for checking in. We appreciate it. You want a wing?
Yeah.
Nothing like eating wings when we're live for the audience, for the people.
Sauce? Can I get a little?
We're
Can I get a little Billy Cornell?
I am.
I gotta get some wing sauce on my shirt.
I am unveiling the new Hempstead Yellow Hornets fleece.
Oh, nice.
Eddie Bauer edition.
Nice. Oh, wow.
No pockets.
Eddie
Thanks,
Bauer.
John Simone. Slim
Definitely
fit.
a Seaford
That's it.
sweater.
You know where to
there.
put your stopwatch?
That's it. I don't know. Yeah. What's a stopwatch?
So I'm going to eat some of these wings.
Nice.
And this is literally Fatty's advertising on the broadcast here. They're just, look, folks, that's as good as it gets. Come on. Yeah.
Dinner.
Well, see you later, Murph.
All right. This has been great, guys. Let me know. Yeah. No, wait. I'm not counting points today, brah.
So,
you think about the Islip Wolves coming into this year, and one of the favorites, no doubt, and them in North Lindy. We expect to see them neck and neck, just like I did at the end of last season. And I look forward to it. That stage drill last year was incredible. They have now that chip on their shoulder, and I look forward to seeing how the Islip Wolves respond this year.
The story of 2022 is going to be North Lindenhurst and their ability to do the three-peat, to retire the cake box, to actually own that trophy, which is generally the highest prize that we have. You have to win the state drill 3 years in a row to retire that trophy. And that will be their battle this year. It only gets harder as it goes on. And on the other side will be the Islip Wolves, who are now not only neck and neck. Hi, Bill. What's up, man? Not only neck and neck with North Lindenhurst in 2021, but also have this, an icon to fight for their team.
Right.
They'll be, like I said, carrying Jeffy's flag all summer. So to me, though, that's your 1 and 2 or 1 and 1A, and what's going to happen in 2022 with a lot of teams that have a lot to say about that. But that to me is our first storyline of the year. Is the North Lindenhurst three-peat, the weird gap three-peat, the 1921.
Yeah, right. It's a missing year.
Right.
It's funny. You think going for three-peat, like North Lindenhurst did it, obviously, in 1997. Going for the three-peat. Prior to that, you had the Yellow Hornets going for it in '86. You had the Wildcats had a chance at it in the '70s. Decades apart for going for a three-peat. Now you look in, the current history of racing. You have West Sable doing it in 2001, and then you have, again, them going for it in '06, right after winning '04, '05. Then the Hobos do it, and then the Flying Dutchman had a shot at it again in 2018, right? And now the Knockers are going for it again in 2022. So it just seems like more three-peats. It's been more prevalent over the past couple years
but interestingly,
than prior.
Drills throughout the season. If you look at the amount of drills that the West Sable Flying Dutchman won during their heyday, they were winning 80% of the drills they raced in. Something crazy like that. They won, I think, 50% of the state tournaments that they won, and that's probably incredible too, because it's tough to do it on that day in one shot, right?
Right.
But North Lindenhurst has not swept the drills for their season, right? There's been winners of drills all season. And so for them to come and race the way they did last year and to climb the mountain again when they aren't necessarily the most dominant team flat all season, like unconsciously, if they do get in a position to be able to do it now for a third year in a row, you got to tip your hat, right?
Yeah.
Because I think this sport, post Mike Mara, is more up for grabs than it ever has been. You know, you have so many teams taking a bite of the apple and trying to get at least in that top 5 and trying to get that W in a way that, you know, the West Sable Flying Dutchman, led by Mike, had a lot to say about that for the last 25 years.
Yeah, but I think you look at North Londonhurst, they're such a veteran team. There's so much experience there, and that I've always thought that the sport of racing, the veteran teams have such an advantage. You know, I mean, you look at your guys' runs, you guys were racing 10, 15 years together. As you know, it took you, like, think about when Jay Newhoff started and you started and stuff like that. It took you guys 5 years to really figure it out, right?
Why you gotta do that to me?
But it's true.
So I'll be taking the bite out of the wig. and you just dropped the conversation.
I hope he zoomed in on that too.
We had Central Islip focus here for 30 seconds. I'm sorry. We placed in 2003 in the state trill, and then we did not place again in the state trill until the year we won it in 2010.
Right.
So we spent
takes a long time.
And we were going into those drills thinking we had something to say about it.
Right.
But to do it on that day, it is a learned skill. You have to learn how to handle the pressure.
And it's the same thing with your teams, Twan, whether it was with Joe and Matt Spinelli and, you know, and stuff, and Ralph Spinner was there forever and had been through every war and stuff like that. So it's that veteran presence on your team means so much. And if, like, you know, Islip has some of those guys.
Yeah.
But how many of those guys were there when they last won?
Yeah.
No.
So it takes a long time to climb that first mountain.
Right. It's one guy. It's Mike.
The first mountain's
but
right.
Other than that,
the first mountain's the hardest one to climb.
Right.
I agree.
You know, after you do that one, you kind of figure it out a little bit.
And I think, I mean, that had to be the difference in 2021.
Right.
Right?
Well,
right? You want to be the North Lindenhurst Piston Knockers. The North Lindenhurst Piston Knockers are the team who was most likely to run the 2140 after Islip puts up the 2153. Right? Probably not the other way around if I was a betting man. That's just the way it is as a guy who's, you know, watching how hard it is to put up that shot on that spot.
Correct.
And North Lindy with the gun to their head. Pull the trigger, man, we don't care. Ice cold. Right? Ice in their veins, baby.
Right.
That moment is incredible.
It was incredible. It was a credible ending. And, you know, a little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about, like, the current state of racing climbers, right? I sent out a text message to a whole bunch of the climbers out there, and not to get it too far ahead of ourselves, but to your point, Artie, I texted Ducky over the past week.
Kevin Ducky Fowler,
you know, and working his way up the argument on, you know, all-time top 10 ladder climbers, right? He's in the argument, right? But the one thing that stands out to me about what he said in his text message is, you know, the team around him. You know, there's A-Rock, the Kevin Connell, the wisdom, the knowledge, just the fact to have these people, you know, in his back pocket, essentially, picking their brains and just there to give him feedback immediately has really contributed to his success. And he's actually put Chris Connell into that conversation. You know, Scott Rice, Vinnie Bogart, they got nothing but veteran knowledge on that team, and that's what, you know, helped them win that state drill last year, and then 2019 for that matter.
Now, they haven't done a rebuild in a long time, but I was always impressed at their ability to do the reload.
Yeah.
Right. If you remember, and it's more than 10 years now, it's probably closer to 15 when Ducky had his first season. It was him and Ken Stallone. They traded content.
Yeah.
You guessed it.
You guessed it. I knew it was coming. Kenny Stallone. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald.
But they knew, like, they built 2 ladder climbers.
Yeah.
And they were fundamentally perfect. Like, from the minute they started running. North Lindenhurst understands how to start from scratch.
They do.
And and their learning curve is shallower than everybody else.
Yeah.
They get better at the spot faster than anybody else.
Correct. They really know how to teach a person to run a position very well, and they're patient with them, but pushing them along the way.
Right.
to get there quickly, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be patient with you, but we are
The Godfather,
Neil Brogan.
but we are pushing you in the right direction.
Right.
We're giving you all everything here.
Yeah.
Right, and this is why they have a 42-year scoring streak in the state drill. Right, 42 years it just turned this past year. I made a file for these guys.
42 years where they scored at least one point in the state drill.
They have scored in every state drill from 1978 on.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think about that. But, like, you know, when we talk about starting guys in new positions, like, they're ladder climbers. To bridge the gap from A-Rock to Ducky, it was a little paltry there for a couple years. You look at 1999 to 2006, they took 3 trophies in the state drill in motorized ladder and 3-man. You look at recent history, and Artie, you and I were talking about this prior to the broadcast. I mean, Ducky, since 2014, has taken a first-place shot in either B ladder or C ladder. Not just Ducky, the whole team. I know Vinny's a part of that, Chris Connell, right? I know Dudley's part of that as a driver. Scott Rice is part of that as a driver, but that's really impressive. Motorized ladder scoring streak from 2012 to 2021. Wow. And that includes 6 first-place shots over that span.
Wow. And the consistency is wild. It's like there's one team that you can expect to for Scott to lay him right in the patch and ladder, and for Ducky to climb the thing like a gentleman at Deerfield, at Main Transit, at Hempstead. I can see it, the run in my head over and over again. The ladder's perfect. Everything's beautiful. North Lindenhurst is the team to beat in 2022.
One final thought about North Lindy, and then we'll move on. You know, out of the 42 years, the event they've scored the least in is efficiency.
Yeah, well.
But 4 out of the last 5 state drills, they have scored in efficiency, including back-to-back wins in efficiency.
You could say for a 15 to 20 year period, that was their weakness.
Right.
You know, they struggled. It's not like they didn't know how to run the contest. They just struggled putting the pieces together in that contest for a long period of time.
Yeah.
One efficiency trophy in the state trail in the 1990s.
Yeah.
When they were
That's it.
incredible.
4th place, 963 at the 96 invite. State trail, excuse me.
Which is also a very tough contest back in that time period.
Yeah, sure.
You know. So, like, and again, we'll transition. So, we're talking North Lindenhurst, we're talking Islip. Is there another team out there that can, like, to me, it's like right now there's a 2-team, and then there's almost a little space, and then there's like another crop of teams.
Yeah.
Is there a team that can get into that space or become a 3rd team that can be in that tier?
Well, to me, this relationship between Northland and Islip right now is the West Sable North Lindenhurst relationship, right? Well, I agree. They do seem to have a cut above, and I think they proved it in 2021, going shot for shot the entire day, right?
Yep.
And those things that we end up realizing those things almost a little later, right? Like when it happens, you don't put it together. But to me, that analogy was clear, right? North Lindy and West Sable were trading blow for blows. And Hempstead, actually, when North Lindy took their step back, it was West Sable Hempstead, right? And it was those two and then everybody else. I think that's what we have right now.
Right.
But that doesn't mean somebody can't sneak in and steal something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but
These teams are not
who's next?
Who's that guy?
Right.
Who's that team that can catapult themselves or take that next step? Because it's, again, and that's a hard step to take too. Whenever you're climbing the mountain, I've always said in sports, whether when I was coaching, playing, whatever, it's harder to climb the mountain than it is to stay on top of the mountain.
Yeah.
So who can climb the mountain, or who's climbing the mountain?
So if you want to look at last year's state drill overall top, whatever it is, 12, 3rd place, West Sable Flying Dutchman. Now, I know there were some question marks coming into this year, but if we look back at last year's state drill, very consistent day for the Dutchmen, and honestly, that's kind of what it's been for them since they last won the state drill in 2016. Consistent day, consistent season, and I thought Billy Holton himself had a very good day in the state drill last year. 6:45 and 3-man 2nd place. 5:45, not the greatest number, but 2 points out of B ladder, 3 points out of C ladder with a 9:10. So out of ladders right there, they're at 9 points, right? So they're definitely in the mix. The only question really is, what is the status of their climbing position? You know, I had a little text conversation with Billy Holton, and again, more of the taste for later when we talk about the current state of climbers. But, you know, he's been racing since 2009, 10, started out with Copeg, and now he's just dealing with life as a dad. You know, he's got twins that were born a couple of years ago. He's got another daughter who's older than that, and a little tough to make the percentage. And, you know, in this sport that we do. We are firefighters first, maybe not me. I know you are for sure, but is your boss watching? Is
the bag o equipment.
The bag o, yeah. You need the bag o equipment.
You do. Yeah,
That's a high-rise kit for those of you watching at home. It's a high-rise kit. I may or may not have written that on my firefighter final exam in 1997. Did you also know there's a fish? Name the fish. Name the fish. Did anyone know what the fish is? Anyone in that? That's the pike pole. That's the pike pole, right? Bag o equipment, the fish, and of course the gasoline extinguisher, which I wrote instead of foam extinguisher. Who knew? Anyway, that's enough buff for one show.
All right, fine. Yeah.
So the West Saver Flying Dutchman.
I don't have my drops, otherwise I'd be playing that Paulie drop right now. I like the roof, you know. I can't carry on.
So no, what's on tap for the Dutchman? What's their update? So you got Matty Mara living it up in Alabama, frat boy Matty Mara.
That's it.
The guy is a racing book of knowledge. He loves the sport.
Yep.
Can he bring it to the next level this year? I'm excited to see what he could bring to the sport. You know, and I hope he doesn't get like all mental and thinking, oh, but Mike Mara's my dad, right? Climbing's a very mental position.
Absolutely.
We're nuts. We're all crazy. But, you know, the sky's the limit for the kid. And if he gets reps, just get 1 rep a week on the motorized ladder. If Billy can't make it back, and actually in texting Matt today, it sounds like Billy will be back. Maybe June, maybe, you know, mid-June, early June, who knows?
Right.
Not for the beginning of the season, but as we've seen over the past few years, you don't necessarily need to be there early on for the full season.
Well, I would say that if there's one guy that can come in June at this point, Billy's the intersection of veteran experience and healthy in shape. So, like, he could definitely be that guy to put the sneakers on June 15th and go. Yeah. Right? So
it's riding a bike for him.
Right.
You know.
Right. The other guy who's that guy is the guy who's driving for the West Saver Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. Right.
Michael Mara. So, you know, they could – there's some options there.
Yeah.
If it looks like the door is open, right? Got a couple guys who might be able to, like, you know what, let's just do August 1. Mike hit the back step. Hit it, Dad. I don't know. I'm just saying. Hit it, Frank. I don't know. Like,
he was here before saying those days are over, but take it or leave it, right? You never know. I hear you.
He's got 3 weeks in it. Stop. Okay. So
they have 3 backup drivers, 3 backup clients. You know, they got everyone.
Right. But if listen, out of all those options, if it's Matty, first of all, Matty's not going to be here until May 15th.
Right.
Or May 1st. That's going to be harder, although I'm sure he'll hit it hard. It might not be him as well, but if it is not Billy Houghton, we're looking at a West Saver Flying Dutchman team that is in the rebuild mode for the first time.
I mean, you're talking to the guy who runs
since the 80s, right?
You know,
when did Billy Zoller climb? Early 90s, right?
Yeah, well, Billy climbed in 94. And then
94 State was him.
Right.
Yeah, so, but if Billy's not there for the year, I think he was in all 8 contests last year.
Yeah, he ran hydrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably was.
So
that was actually, I was thinking that too. Who were the other
huge piece?
Right.
Yeah,
so he was a hydrant man.
And arguably, you could say at this point, top 2-3 dumper in the sport. I mean, he went up top for them and started running incredibly good numbers.
The consistently best
bucket team
on the track.
And he's putting it out and doing it really well
on a barrel that is significantly more difficult to fill
today.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And folks maybe don't understand that at home.
Travesty of buckets, by the way.
Yeah, we got to do something about that.
You got to fix that.
Traditionally,
Bring back the 19s.
You could fill in 11 buckets maybe half the time. Now it's 12 with like a magic 11 once in a while. Pete Sayevich, I know you're here. We got to fix that bucket barrel.
Yeah.
All right, we want more 11s.
That's right.
It appears like everybody's worse in buckets, but the truth is everybody has to put an extra bucket.
You just don't want it to go out in like 7 or 8 buckets.
No, you don't. Well, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to have that conversation.
What's the real story with the bucket barrel? If we can get on for a quick second. They redesigned it? Is it tested better?
It was redesigned.
Right.
We had bucket barrels around the state that didn't match necessarily.
Okay.
Hardware and stuff. Pete Sayevich, Rob Riley came in, redid the whole thing.
Are they more accurate?
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe
it's possible they're just better at the job. Like,
right.
That is an issue. You know. So
we getting rid of the 19s?
But
switching over here.
Yeah, but we want some 19s.
Yeah,
there are teams.
It's fun.
On track that can run 19s. 100%. They should be running 19s. They should be putting the light out. So like maybe we'll just change the rule, make it 39 gallons.
That sounds good.
I don't know. And I mean, it might make it easier. Anyway, moving on from West Sable, who's next?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say Quenzers are back for West Sable before we move on. I'm sorry that those guys are all coming back. Quenzers and Huguenin.
I think there's a pretty good nunucleus that's there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just
all right.
Where's Billy
Brian Huguenin is not going anywhere. He's going to be on the back of the truck for 25 years. I feel the same way about Joe, too, who is in the conversation for one of the best nozzle men on the track. So they still have pieces. They can still cause problems, but it remains to be seen how strong the West Sable Flying Dutchmen are when they come into this season.
4th place in the state drill 2021 with the Farmingville Bandits. The first top 5 overall placing in the state drill ever in the history of the Bandits. They are next on the list.
Good dream realized.
Yeah, that's right. The Ville. Get the F out. Champs. The Ville.
Yeah.
We should call them the Ville, right?
Ville.
Young nucleus of guys on that team. Obviously, some veteran leadership with Dudley going over. Justin Russo's a guy that I've texted a lot over the past couple days, and you just hear it in his voice through the texting that they're hungry. They're ready to be the next up to do the right thing. If you look at the Farmingville Bandits' history in the state drill, they scored one time in the state drill, year 2000, 3-man ladder, right? That was it. Up until 2015, they've scored at least 7 different times in the state drill. So they've definitely come into their own. But last year, they were able to put it together with C hose and B hose, 9 out of 10 in motorized hoses. The real question I have for them moving forward is, when do the ladders come in to help them? They got the tools there. Justin Russo's a good climber.
Yeah.
Does he take that next step this year?
I don't know. Justin Russo's another one of those full-time baby daddies, so he's got a lot on his plate as well. But I know he loves the game, and I know he wants to be on the next level.
Different B truck now, right?
Different B truck, and let's talk about that. So Farmingville trying to win with the Karma Gods by taking their old B truck. They bought their B truck from Roslyn, repainted it, and now that's the Farmingville B truck. Looks a lot the same. Their old B truck on the shelf, motors out of it. They are, I can tell everybody tonight that they are donating it to the Seaford inmates who are going to try to play a little motorized.
Nice.
Great,
Go Vikings.
Yeah.
That's a high school mascot. That's where I went.
Yeah, all right.
So from bandits to inmates.
Yeah.
Dare we say it?
Yeah.
It went a lot funnier in my mind earlier before the show. Sorry.
I think
the B truck's in jail. Get it?
I did jokes.
Do you get it?
I do think they're hoping that B truck is going to change some of their way of running.
Yeah.
In the ladder contest, so to speak, for the way the truck is set up, stopping, etc.
We're talking about Farmingville right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think they're hoping that the new setup and the way the truck and just everything is going to change some things, and hopefully that's going to propel them in the ladder contest.
And people don't realize that, we've seen a lot more with C trucks, but hey, let me borrow your C truck, Bayshore Bar and Lindenhurst C truck, right? But you don't realize that the handle's in a different place, right?
Yeah.
The chute is not the same width as your ladder. There's a lot of reasons why you can't just jump on a truck. Right? And I would think Farmingville's probably dealing with a little bit of those growing pains to get that B truck 100%, right?
Yeah.
Where they want it to be, but they've climbed that mountain at this point, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I think, again, they're a team that they're in a conversation. They showed it last year. They took the first step.
Yeah.
Can you make the next one?
Right.
So again, it's not as easy as you think.
And I mean, they have a good young group, but there's a lot of teams who had that moment that dip their toe into the top 5,
right?
And then they don't taste it for years.
Yeah, because they think that's it. They think they got there.
All right, now we're here, right? But guess what?
It gets harder.
There's teams on the outside looking in who are doing just as much to try to get back there as well, right?
Right.
And
there's always those little things that you can say. It's like once you get there, it also is a little bit harder to stay there because there's always someone knocking on the door to get in. And if you say that you look at we have a top 5, but let's say you look at the top 10 of the sport, right? If you have the top 10 and you're in that 10 and you're in the 5 to the 10 range or the 6 to 10 range, well, number 11's banging to try to get in. So that means somebody's got to fall down.
Right.
So who's going to be that person? You don't want to be that person. So that means you got to put in even more work to stay there and you're trying to go up to the next ladder, but someone else is still trying to pick you off.
Right. I agree 100%. I think that the sport always ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes it feels like the first dozen is real deep, and then some years it feels like it's 3 or 4 teams up, and you can almost see it in how many points get scored at the state drill. that are in the top 5, right? There's 80 points. What's the again? 90 points in a state. Wait, in any kind. Wait, it's 15 times
90.
8. 120.
Is it 15? Oh, yeah.
Right?
Go ahead, go with it.
It's 120 points in any drill period.
80 plus 40, 120.
You can see the ratio of points that get into the top 5.
Hold on, I got to make a tape diagram here.
How strong the teams are who aren't in that top 5, right?
Right.
You know,
Right.
27, 24 in the top 5, you know?
Yeah.
But for those, I think we are in a moment of increased competition for that first dozen, for the 100 and plus, you know?
Yep.
The teams that are trying to get into the mix are better than they have been in a long time in the sport. Maybe the top team is not that West Sable lights out, I'll clinch it by efficiency. That's a good thing for the game.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So,
Just before we end up with farming, though, just a couple things about their consistency, right? Forget about the state drill. Like, if we look at other drills since 2017, Riverhead Invite 4th place, North Belmore 5th place, again in the Riverhead Invite place in 4th. Labor Day at Hempstead, they came in 3rd in 2019, 2nd last year. The Joe Gonnelly drill, 3rd place. They placed in the Hunter a couple times, and they placed 2nd in the Point Pleasant Invite. So they're doing it in other drills.
Right.
Can they maybe win one this year? That's probably something on the checklist, obviously, and definitely to follow up last year's top 5 with another one this year. I look forward to the Farmingville Bandits. So
who's next?
Yeah, looking at the drill. So last year was a top 5 sweep of Suffolk County. So 5th place was the Lindenhurst Snails. You're looking at Lindenhurst again. I was texting Ryan Kinley. You know, most of those guys are back again for another year, maybe picking up some new blood here or there. But if you look at their performances over the past 5 years, they've been really quite consistent, placing in numerous drills. Riverhead Invite a bunch of times, Point Pleasant Invite. But when you talk about wins, 2019 probably their best season out of this 5-6 year span. They win the Hunter in 2019. Follow it up with a win at your drill at CI. CI Invite wins a big deal. That was in 2019. 2nd place at North Belmore. They placed in the state drill a couple times. So can they keep that going, right? What's new in Lindyland, right?
Yeah, and we're going to find out. And it always feels like Lindy is right on the precipice, right? And Ryan's a big part of that, I think. I yell at Ryan sometimes because I feel like he has more unrealized potential than any other ladder climber on the track, right? When he gets it, when he catches that whip, it's as good as anybody on the track, right?
Yep.
And increasingly, he is starting to get better and better at handling the ladder that isn't perfect, which was his weakness for a long time. But I'm also sure he's got some kind of surgery happening. You know, he blew out some, shoulder, rotator cuff. He also, and to give, this is a super serious thing, but he's got a little one who's in the hospital.
Absolutely.
And we are sending some prayers out to him for that as well. There is a GoFundMe that's bopping around online. Take care of the Kinley family if you can. But we know he's going to be out on the track no matter what. We know he's going to be there. He's our bro. I love that I get a chance to pick on him. But I am excited to see what the Lindenhurst Snails can do. They sneak into that top 5, man, and could do more. They could do some more damage.
Yeah, looking at their ladder times, I mean, Kinley's got, looks like a 5:12 under his belt. A couple that I think is his best at the 2017 Babylon drill. I don't know what that's all about. Babylon. I don't know what it is. It says Babylon here.
Town of Babylon.
Oh, thank you. There it is, Town of Babylon. I'm, from Nassau. But, and a lot of 9.2s, 9.1s, so he's definitely on the list. I'm looking here on the team summary. There's a lot of numbers that Ryan Kinley owns as far as the top 10 best in Lindenhurst history. Obviously, Sean Matthews on that list, too, but we're talking about recent history. So Lindenhurst Snails hoping to bring it again this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a team out there quick on you. Can Point Pleasant get in the mix?
Yeah.
Right? So we know
I'm excited about the Pequod this year, man.
Pequod.
No.
You see them in different stages of each season.
Wait. Hey, can we get a beer?
Chris needs a beer.
If we stop talking, somebody will bring me a beer sooner or later.
Chris Murphy needs a beer. You see at different points during the year, they'll run monster shots and contests. So can they bring it? Can they run 5 of those shots in one day?
Right.
Yeah.
That's really what you need to do.
That's what the Bayshore Redskins did.
Correct.
They hammered 5 shots out of nowhere.
Can you find the consistency to just run 5 of them on that one Saturday?
Yeah.
That's all you need. And they're running heavy.
Right, because they haven't, at Hempstead State Tournament a couple years ago, they came out of the ladders, winning the drill. You know,
2017 state, there was a 5'10" first place shot. That was really the day that everybody got to know the name.
Right.
Like Passero. Not Passero. Passero. All the guys, didn't like that on Point Pleasant.
So-
That was what, 2017 you said?
2017 state, first place 5'10". The year prior they had taken points in 3-man and B-ladder in the state drill, so I guess we kind of knew him. But that was the day that he became a household name. I mean, this guy in the 4 club, you win a state drill B-ladder shot, you're gonna know that guy's name.
Right.
And that was the day that he became famous. You know, we got racing fame.
Racing famous.
He became racing famous that day.
I don't think you'll find an organization in the game today that's as committed to the game.
Right.
You know, I mean, you look at, you can obviously we have our groups and stuff, so you can see things that's going around the state and stuff like that. And we have the teams down here. Who's committed and who's doing it all year.
Yeah.
They're doing it all year.
All year.
They're committed to the game in every facet. Their motor work, the preparation. Ladder team, hose team.
I think they've always taken a scientist's approach to the game.
Yeah.
Right? They're guys that have been there for decades, have always approached it with a little bit of a let's hack the mainframe here to figure out how to get a couple hundredths. And I can appreciate that. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
And I think the results have shown.
Right.
For them, I think the hardest thing is, and I heard this week that they will be down for the North Baltimore Invitational.
That is confirmed.
Yeah. So and they understand the value of racing on the track that the state drill is at.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. But it's even more important than that, because like we were talking about before about being able to put your shot up on the day of the state drill, it is way harder to be a team that only races in a 25-team drill once a year.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Show up and we're singing the national anthem, and there's a lot of people on the track.
Right.
Right. Like
there's not 25 people on the track. There's 105 people on the track.
Yeah. Right.
It's a big difference.
So they have to, and they know this too. They have to get comfortable running. You're only getting one shot at this thing.
Right.
But I think the only way you can do that is to try to appear on the island as much as possible. The most potential out of any of the teams that we have.
It's them. And the one thing they have that I think most teams don't have anymore, youth. Their main guys are all in their 20s. They're hungry, they're motivated, they're all in. They are ready to go. They got to bring it on the day, Artie. Right? But so coming to Merrick this year, full squad is back. Like you said about, they have cosmetic work going on with their trucks. They're looking to start the first week in May. They do deal with some colder weather up there, so Mike's having a little bit of trouble getting a ladder to put up because there's no real indoor facility up there. But the thing about Point Pleasant, they're looking to become only the second upstate team to place overall top 5 in the state drill. The Red Onions did it 3 times, 1990, 01, 03. Can the Pea Pickers join that list?
Yeah.
I like Point Pleasant this year. I'm hoping they do it.
Blackout drunk they got in 1990. Right?
That's kind of a weird one. Like the John Short days, 01, 03. Right. What happened in 90, right?
Yeah, that's some guys. Let's keep going here because.
So let's just look at. So we talked Pea Pickers. Let's look on the Nassau front. We haven't brought any Nassau teams into the mix yet.
Well, so let's start with the back-to-back.
Let's look at their total points last year. Rinky Dinks are up in the top. Teddy Boys, Westerners. So where are we with those 3 teams?
All right. So the Rinky Dinks, back-to-back Nassau County total point champs, right? In 2019 and 2021.
Right. A little weird on a T-shirt, but just
right, exactly.
Go with it.
Talking to the Corcoran brothers this year. Joe's that climber. I mean, this past week. And his brother Sean, basically saying he's all in for this year. He's going to have a go at it again. These guys are like in their mid-30s. So again, they're all in, ready to go. Pat Cloudman's coming back. But if you just look at some of the highlights over the past few years, these guys have placed in quite a few drills, including a North Belmore Invite win in 2019, Point Pleasant Invite win in 2019, and Labor Day at Hempstead win. North Merrick, second place in 2020. Lindenhurst tied for third in 2020. They placed top 5 in North Belmore, Joe Hunter, the county, and the Hempstead Invite, and Labor Day, all in 2021. The only thing missing is a top 5 finish in the New York State Drill.
Right.
North Belmore looking to do that for the first time since 1969.
Wow.
They placed top 5 every state drill in the decade of the 60s.
Really?
And since 1969, they have not done it. They had a couple shots in the early 2000s with Chris Caraccio running 3-man ladder for those guys, but I think Rinky Dinks, keep it consistent, get a little bit better, and I think they'll be there hopefully top 5 at the end of the day this year at the state drill.
Yeah, they're another one of those teams that I think has that potential. Right, we see that they can put these shots up throughout the year. Joe looks great on the ladder.
Yeah.
He eats this thing up, man.
I thought like you just see the last 5 years, each year just gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
Each year, it's a little, and each year there's a certain shot in one of the contests where then all of a sudden the number's like, oh.
Yeah, you do that noise. You're like, oh.
Take it or leave it with this stat. Who has a faster B-ladder time, Joe Corcoran or Josh Kaysen, in their own personal best? Who has a faster time in B-ladder? If the personal best fastest time in B-ladder, is it Joey Corcoran or Josh Kaysen of the Islip Wolves?
Well,
obviously, I just set it up so you know the answer.
I'm shocked by that.
It's 5:07 to 5:08 in favor of Joey Corcoran. Again, what does that mean? Nothing.
Listen,
because Josh has had the consistency. He's awesome.
He's one
the
of the
top
guys at the top of the top.
But I think Joey Corcoran, that 5:07 they ran is the quietest 5:0 in the history of racing. They ran it at the Drew. And was anyone watching? Right? Where was the racing world to see them run that 5:07?
Crickets.
Right, Chris? I was just saying how they ran a 5:07 team record last year. And I feel like it was the quietest 5:0 in the history of racing. Run at the Drew McCaffrey. Did you remember that North Baltimore put in the 5:0s?
I was like running around that day. I didn't get a chance really, but like that's a massive shot.
Yeah.
Massive shot. And what a way to put away the ladder, right?
Yeah.
For the rest of the year. So I think it's the same story. Yes, Sean. This is my last year.
Yeah.
Shut up, Sean. You're running. Stop. All right. So he's in.
He's busy coaching the Belmore Braves football team.
Right.
Yeah.
Nassau sports humor joke. I don't know. You don't say anything. You got to sell shit. Don't.
I know who the Belmore Braves are. I've made hats for them.
Looking at some of their highlights as well.
Group.
Yeah, the tight.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Aside from ladders, team record in C-hose, team record in B-hose, 782, right? Fastest efficiency with the current team's 881, not a team record, but that's a decent shot, 8.8. They were the first North Belmore team to put it in the 5s in motor pump. They did that at the 2019 state in Hagerman. The pieces are there, but very much like Point Pleasant, can they put them all together on the big day?
5 contests on the same day. It's very hard to do. People don't realize how hard it is to do.
You got Pat Clowman on that team too.
Yeah.
Pat's probably got the best B-hose time of the guy who's actively on the track ever.
Yeah.
So we know them. So now what's going on with like West Hempstead, Oyster Bay? I know West Hempstead got a lot of youth over there, right?
Yes.
And also Craig's back.
Craig Hayes is going to back. He's back to give it a go. He is 43 years old. This will be his 43-year-old racing season. He's one of the few guys that could say that he ran a 5 in his 40s.
Right.
Specifically a 5.2 in his 40s, which is impressive. Mike Mara being the other one. I might have run a 5.9 in my 40s at the Drew. For those of you at home,
I remember that. That was a great drill.
So I mean, I think they're another team, West Hempstead. I know they have a young nucleus over there. I think they teach their guys well.
I agree, 100%.
And they're another patient group.
They're in the bumpy Bray machine.
Yeah.
Right?
This is how we run it.
Yeah.
We're going to show you how. And,
right.
So I think if they can get some of these young guys on the trucks or in ground events and, mesh them in with some of the older guys that are there, I think they can make some noise in Nassau County.
Yeah, absolutely.
One name to know is Joe Macerano. I believe that's how you say his last name, Macerano. Mark Macerano raced with West Hempstead in the early 90s. He was a thrower for Paul Jordan. His son is Joe. Joe's running third man. I watched him in practice a couple times last year, and there are flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
It's a matter of can the first and second guy get out of his way to give him that number. We're talking 6'3s. If he gets the shot, he's got the potential. So they're excited about him over there. Andrew Brome texted me this week. They're happy where they are at efficiency pump and buckets. That was kind of the crux last year. But they're committed. They got the guys coming back. I was texting Craig Hayes. He's back. He's going to give it a go. It takes a little longer for him to get in racing shape, as you could imagine. Yeah. 43 years old. But he's saying by CI, he hopes to be good and ready to go to get at it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Door's open.
The door is open.
Craig can definitely do some. And listen, we talked about having the experience of winning the drill.
Right.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Craig has that.
Oh, yeah.
Climb the mountain, right? It's
absolutely.
Second time, no doubt about it.
Yep. And then we have we have Teddy Boys,
right?
I know they went through some guys are out, some guys are getting back in, so there's a kind of influx of talent going on over there. Again, I think it's not the easiest place to stay.
I think a lot of our Nassau departments struggle just in volunteerism, because it's a tough place to buy a house. And tough place to live through your 20s, And for a lot of those guys who get to the point where they're looking to get out of their parents' house, it's real hard to do it in town. And that's basically the challenge that I think a lot of our Nassau teams are dealing with right now,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was texting with Joe Boy about the Oyster Bay Teddy's boys. Their motors are ready to be put in, but he was saying, unfortunately, that's kind of about it. They lost their hydro man. They lost their thrower, Jackson O'Neill, and their breaker, Danny. I'm not really sure who that is, but they do have a couple young guys looking to say they're going to try it out. But honestly, the outlook is a little bit up in the air right now, according to what Joe Boy was saying. Now, look, this was a couple weeks ago. Has that changed? You know how things go in March and April. Oh, I'm not coming back, and then that warm weather comes, it hits, and you get guys back in. But that was the outlook when I texted with Joe Boy the other day. And again, it's just one of those things about your percentage. You got to make your percentage. There was another case of one of the guys getting a job offer that he couldn't turn down. Has to move upstate. Life takes a role, unfortunately, over racing. And so they are dealing a little bit with that. But just looking at the Teddy's boys' performances since 2016, a lot of consistency, placing in top 5, a lot of thirds, fourths, fifths. We're talking Nassau County Drill, North Belmore Invites. The pinnacle of all that was a win at the Labor Day Drill at Hempstead in 2021, just last Labor Day. They end off the year with a win. And now hopefully they can do something coming out. I know that, like I said, they're dealing with people being out.
Some of the pieces back together.
Yeah.
That's tough to actually get that W at Labor Day and then lose part of the squad, due to life.
We'll go just hit some of the Suffolk group again. Obviously, we haven't spoke hobos, gamblers. Hagerman's been rising up the ladder as well. Getting more consistent, getting better in contests.
State record motor pump.
Absolutely.
It's one of the great runs of all time.
Yep.
Numbers there, and that is their flag planted now, and I think they want more of that.
And I think they see. They have their nucleus now. They have a core group of guys. They have the nucleus. It seems like they figured out the equipment.
Right.
Like they've now, it took us 2 or 3 years to get to where we are now.
Yeah.
Now we got to go to the next step.
The truth is that, to me, all right, pipe down, Gene. It's just as easy, or it's just as likely for Hagerman to have been in the top 5 of the state drill as Farmingville. Right? Like, those two teams, they remind me of Lindy and Bayshore about 5 years ago, right? Where they seem to be rising together, And Hagerman and Farmingville seem to be doing the same thing. They're almost neck and neck, two town of Brookhaven teams that can get the job done, Who do we miss?
I'm just saying something about Hagerman. I think the 2020 season for Hagerman, that was the lost season, right?
Right.
They were awesome in 2020.
Yeah.
Right. They win the Lyndhurst invite. Right, they win the Point Pleasant invite, and they really jumped on the scene that year. But that's the Hagerman Gamers. We'll see what they got coming forward.
Yeah.
I know we're looking at 7:30. We got a lot of things on the agenda, right?
Well, that's again. So you still have Bayshore, you still have the Guzzlers, Blue Jay combo.
Yes.
Again, they didn't run a lot of tournaments last year, but they are now with some pieces in place.
Yep.
They have the ladder climber. Chuck's coming back. So, they just, again.
We're going to talk a little bit about ladder climbers, I think, in a couple seconds. But and Benny the Jet's definitely going to be one of those kids we're going to talk about in the next few years. Another guy, ladder climber, and speaking of which, I'm breaking the news. First of all, we got to say hi to the guys from Henrietta.
Henrietta having happy hour up there today.
Oh, what up, old Henry's?
Time zone?
I don't think so. I think it's still the same.
I bet you they get more beer than I do.
They're at the Henrietta Fire Hall.
Oh, the Fire Hall.
The winners of B Ladder. The winners in B Ladder in the first ever drill held at West Sayville. Henrietta O. Henry's. The Hunter Drill.
Hunter Drill.
Did they host the drill there prior to that?
The guy who was climbing that day for Henrietta Old Henry's, his His name's Josh Marshall.
Physical specimen.
He might be the best. We were trying to talk about the 5 tools of racing. We couldn't figure it out, really. Twan's got a little bit on that in a second. But Josh, second-generation guy, loves the game, had to leave a couple years ago due to a career move.
Yep.
Has now joined the Spencerport Red Onions. And
That's alert!
that is a big deal. It might take a couple years, but speaking of teams that know how to put stuff together, you come in with a player like that, you can build a lot of stuff. I know there's a lot of young guys, family guys in Spencerport who are looking to get that team back up and going again. All of a sudden, we've got 5 legit teams in Western again, like playing teams, you know, and those are going to be fun little drills. There's going to be a lot of runs up there,
And for those who don't know about Josh Marshall, and I don't know how many people don't know, but we're talking 5-1s. He's run 5-1s already. He's done it in the state drill, 5-14, 2017 state drill, second place behind Point Pleasant Pea Pickers. I was an upstate team first, second place that year. But this guy is an immediate impact player for the Spencerport Red Onions, looking to get back on the map. Looking forward to it.
And let's not forget that Spencerport Red Onions, they know a thing or two about running B-ladder.
They do. They do. Good old shout out to John Short there.
We have a couple other things we want to touch real quick. Westbury and New Hyde Park will be a new merger this year. Both those teams struggling a little bit to get enough of a full squad. Yeah, hey, Phil, we're not doing anything right now. Okay. Yeah, all right. Oh, hi. Okay, all right. Yeah. Phil says hello. There's a camera right there, Phil. You just say hi to the camera.
There you go.
We got him already.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. That's all right.
But Rita Madelone send you over here for that? Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. We missed a team, and I'm okay with it.
You were talking about the merger of New Hyde Park and Westbury.
We also have a bunch of teams bringing beat trucks onto the track this year. Freeport.
Awesome news.
A department team.
Correct,
Get their beat truck out. They're going to get to work. I think it's great, man. They obviously, that's a good group of guys. They know how to play a little bit too, and I think they're hungry for some racing.
Real consistent team. When they became motorized late 90s, early 2000s, they were in the mix every year. And good to have them back. Mouseburger running things over there still, or?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I wonder.
I didn't dig in enough. I know the beat trucks out there. They're a good follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
FFD Red Devils. They're showing the progress of the beat trucks. So check them out.
Nice.
East Farmingdale picked up Huntington Manor this year. They merged together. We should be getting the East Farmingdale Hares back on the track, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Riverhead Ironmen, after a 2 or 3 year layover, sounds like they're going to be able to get out there again too, which is awesome.
No merger, just Riverhead.
Just Riverhead.
Oh, good for them.
That's how they do business. They're another one of those departments got I think 2,200 guys on the roster. It's an incredible amount of firemen. That's a high number. That's not true.
Right,
they have a lot of guys. So I think they don't need to do the merger necessarily. But I think that gives us our rundown kind of real quick of dipping our toe through what's going on in the racing world.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing to add would be the Yellow Hornet merger. Yellow Hornet, South Hempstead Rascals, the Rockville Center Woodlanders, Merrick Buckeye merger is approved again. Matt Spinelli's been doing a lot of work over there with the guys to keep them together. We got a group chat going on the old GroupMe app.
Yeah.
I went down to a couple practices last year working with some of those guys, and score some points this year. That's the goal. Run those team events at the end, right? Efficiency
Top
pump.
five player in Nassau County.
Yeah.
Right. I think 4th or 5th total points, right, for you guys?
Yep.
Yeah, not a bad show. Alex Luffy showed a little growth last year. I don't know if he's back or not. We have to figure out what's going on over in Yellow Hornet land.
Let's talk about rule changes.
So, let's jump in. So, two major ones.
Are the drivers allowed to turn their head?
They always were.
They always were. Really?
Yes.
Did we redo the 2006? No. Sorry, go ahead.
So now, first one we'll talk about 10-team minimum to crown a state champion. So 10 teams at a tournament to crown a state champ. Really, the biggest effect it has on is the old-fashioned circuit.
Correct.
So obviously, it's not really going to affect the, say, motorized circuit or even the junior circuit. It would be the old-fashioned circuit. I think, how many teams were there last year?
I believe it was 6.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think that was the impetus here. I think we want the state championship to be held to the highest standards.
Of course.
I wouldn't say if I'm in favor personally of the rule or not. I think that the intent of the rule was to ensure that we're seeing a healthy competition at all of the state drills, and it passed. It passed. So we're hoping to see 10 teams at the old-fashioned state this year and crown a champion.
I like it. I think it's 6 teams, 5 teams showing up at drill. You're getting a point in every contest, basically. And,
right. Town drill strategy.
Yeah. It's, play safe, running in the back, have the advantage.
Right.
Yeah, it changes the whole game.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I like that one. And the next one is the running order.
This is a big one.
This is the big one. So the top third.
Eye contact with the camera this whole time. Go ahead.
Top third in area points, or county points or area points, will run in the bottom half of the scorecard on a random draw. So there'll be 2 hats drawn for the drill. If you're in that top third, you'll get thrown into a separate hat to be drawn in a random that will run in the bottom half. The other teams will run in the top half of the scorecard. That's how the scorecard will stay for the day. Minimum 20-team drill.
Right.
So that, it's going to create that excitement every week now.
That's cool. So the state trail, that's how it's going. It's not just a invite-only type of thing.
Correct.
It's a state
Every
as well.
drill.
Yeah.
So that sounds to me like it was a compromise, because I know the first proposal was change the running order in the middle of the drill. And it looks to me like that was a well-thought-out compromise. So this way you at least know when you're running, who's before you, who's after you. So you keep the authenticity of that running order, but yet you're all at the back of the pack. I like it. That was well thought out.
The bottom 10, 12 teams every week.
Right.
It's you're going to see little bang, bang, bang.
Well, I think there's 2 things. Number one, obviously, I think this is kind of also inspired by what we saw at the end of the drill with North Lindy and Islip last year, and the 2 of them running 41 and 42 in the running order, and the excitement of that moment. We the guys, the folks doing the broadcast, push hard for this change because we want to put out the best product we can, right? But the other thing that it does that I think maybe is misunderstood or at least not acknowledged is we're now going to take teams that are doing the rebuilding in the sport right now, and they're going to be on the scoreboard at the time we reach the fold on the scorecard, right? We will know the best of those teams that are fighting to improve, and basically know we could put a top 5 out of those guys right there. The teams that aren't in the second half of the order, the teams that are doing the rebuilding, we're going to visualize. Because listen, throughout the state drill, you get a bunch of 5s on the board, and then someone comes down and puts up a 5-6. But they did it at number 50. Right. It's like kind of an afterthought, right? But if those 5-6s are falling into the mix early on, I think the whole contest will be more exciting, and it'll be easier, and not easier, but teams that are improving, their proof will show up in the pudding quickly, right? We'll see them on the scoreboard, and I think that's going to have a big impact. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
I think it's cool, and look, as a team that doesn't like running in the front, do something about it. You know what I mean? Get that motivate, get that chip on your shoulder. You want to get on the second half of that score sheet,
right?
Do something about it.
Right. Yeah. I agree. It'll be really interesting, and I would expect that we do have 20 teams at Lindenhurst and North Belmore the first 2 drills of the year. Yeah. So we're going to see this thing right away.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
So, rule changes. What else? We got. I want to talk about your. What do we call again? The elite ladder climber.
So that's it on rule changes. There are no more.
That's it. Well,
that's good. Major.
We're not changing the hose testing rules again for the 8 millionth time and 4th jacket hose, whatever the hell goes on with you freaking hose guys. Oh yeah, 2.5-inch nozzle tip. Just put the ladder up and climb.
30 days and 1 year disbarment. All right. Anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we were talking about the elite ladder climber checklist, right? And trying to figure out how to fill this show.
Go ahead. We want to talk about the 5 tools of baseball players and how we attach that to racing, and then it kind of fell apart. And then Twan doesn't sleep and he just dreams this garbage up, and it's wonderful. He's got.
I wanted to talk about something that he's involved in.
Yeah. No. He's got. I'm not kidding, folks. Look at this. Come here. Look. It's an actual checklist. There's a real check with little dots and holes where you can put the check on. This is
did one of the kids do that on Excel yesterday? Or
this is Microsoft Word, actually. It's time to have measurable goals. Because listen, okay, whether you guys like it or don't like it or not, ladder climbers are the face of the racing team. Controversial, I don't care. They are. Everyone knows who the climbers are, just like everyone knows who the quarterbacks are of the NFL teams. And so I was thinking, very much like the NFL, how they just had a bunch of retirements, Drew Brees, the Manning brothers, Big Ben. We're going through a big change in the NFL, and there's a lot of new guys coming up, Joe Burrow, etc. So I thought, ladder climbers over the past 15 years who have kind of retired, who takes over? Who carries the torch? Who's there now? And who are the young guys coming up? So I started thinking, what makes an elite ladder climber, right?
Yeah.
What are the qualities of an elite ladder climber, and then what are the stat specifics? So we were talking about this over text. Qualities needed: consistency, a little bit of track IQ. In other words, if the ladder gets all twisted, can you get to the top? I think speed, obviously. You need longevity in your position, and I really think one of the biggest things is you need mental prowess. Us ladder climbers, we're a little nutty. If you've never run three-man ladder at the state drill, with all that silence and all those people watching, then you just don't know what that's all about, in my opinion.
That is the hardest place to perform in our sport, is that those 3 lines at 9, well, now 10 a.m. I think that was another rule change. They're going to 10 a.m.?
Yeah, I think
right?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that silent fog, right? Rolling through the fields of beer.
The whole weekend is counting on you right now. This is an event you need.
Absolutely.
So longevity, consistency, track IQ, mental prowess, and speed, right? And then if we wanted to talk about stat specifics of what makes a ladder climber elite, there's a checklist of a couple things that I put together. This is debatable. You can agree, you can disagree. It's all good with me.
I will disagree. Go on.
So I got a couple things. Run a 6'2" and 3-man ladder. You want to be considered an elite climber? Boom. 5'0" and B ladder. 4 and B ladder, we're going to put that could go either way. If you got a 4 and B ladder, I think you're elite, but you don't need it. It's not a necessity.
It's an automatic entry, though, right?
Well,
It's a golden snitch.
I don't know. See, is there such a thing?
The Great Ladder Climber Club.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good conversation, because you have guys that have had one, but maybe fewer 5.0s than most other people in that list, right? So that's something to just think about.
Guys, they're just going to try to do their 50-50 real quick.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So if we can just give them...
Come on, Artie. 5.050.
1 minute, you ready?
We're taking a break.
We're going to take 1 minute for the... get your 50-50 tickets out.
Hey, can we get a beer? I have a ticket.
491.
Rigged.
369 491.
Fixed.
Not even on the same roll.
On the bike, it's a lot more fun. Shake it up. Folks, if you had your 50-50 at home, 369-491. I don't know why you would have bought a 50-50
Why'd they sell me when that started 5-4-6?
I am 5 away, actually, so whoever bought right before me is the guy.
I had the correct 100,000th place.
All right.
I got excited there for a second.
We're good?
Back to you.
I don't know. So look,
All right, we're going to keep going.
Look, run an 8 and C ladder, and then make it better. Go sub 8-9. Set a state record. I think you need to win some contests, motorized ladder contests at the state drill, multiple ladder contests at the state drill, and then I think really, kind of an intangible here is something subjective. Peer approval. People talking about you at the bar, when that conversation comes up among the greatest ladder climbers at all time, does your name get a mention? Yeah. So just a couple of things that when we're talking about elite ladder climbers. Over the past 15 years, we've had quite a few ladder climbers who have gone on to either retirement or, well, I guess that'd be the only thing, retirement. Names like Mikey Mara, John Short, Preston Hicks, Billy Moon, JoJo, Ralph Rubino, Joe Minicozy, Mike Pinkney, Todd Stubman, Jay Newhoff, Danny Boucher, Chris Caraccio, Vinny from East Islip back in the day, Bobby Glad from Roslyn. There are so many names on that list of guys that were able to go 5.2, 5.1 and better. Right, they were able to get those numbers in the state drill. They were able to just be consistent, get to the top, put up good numbers. And now we kind of have guys on the fringe. Are they retiring soon? Are they sticking around longer? Names like Craig Hayes from West Hempstead, Doug Chiz from Hicksville, Kyle Lewis from Port Washington. Come back. I don't know, where are you, Kyle Lewis? We need you, Kyle Lewis.
4, and then he walked away.
499, I'm out.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the only qualification for a elite climber. Peace.
Drop the mic. I'm out. Now we can beach somewhere.
That's it. Billy Hothan, question mark there too. So these are the climbers, and when I say question mark, I think he'll be back. But who's next? Who's next? Who's current? Who are the current elites? And who are the next household names?
Right.
So we talk about the current household names. You got your Ducky Fowler. You got your Josh Kaysen. You got Mike Passero. Craig Hayes, I said, Ryan Kinley. Those are the names right now that I feel like most people know. And we could talk about each of those guys individually just to see some numbers, see where they are in the elite class. And I think right now, as Northland, the NYSFD are 1-1A or 1-1, I think the argument can be made for Ducky Fowler, Josh Kaysen. I'll even throw Michael Passero in that conversation. But if you look at their numbers, based on that checklist that I just said, right? Let's go Ducky. 5-0-B ladder, check. 4-B ladder, been close. 501's his best. Multiple wins in the state drill in ladders. Well, he's got about 6 of them.
Yeah, well,
right?
and I brought up to you earlier about Ducky. I was looking a little today. Last 6 state drills, right? So we're at 8. What we say? 6 state drills, 5 points each. So we're at 60 points available in ladders. He's got 40.
Wow.
He's got 40 out of a possible 60 in the last 6 state drills.
Wow.
Also known as 2/3 of the points.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a pretty impressive stat. But you look at him, like you're saying, you put him in that class, he doesn't fall into the 3-man ladder category.
Correct. He's third man, but he's not putting him in the 6'2s or the 6'3s. I think
Right.
6'4 is probably somewhere around his best, maybe 6'5.
Yeah.
And so that goes into the debate.
Hicks syndrome is what you're saying.
That's a name that came to my mind.
Right.
Yes,
So-
I know. I mean, I would even think Billy Moon. No disrespect, I do know he put it in the 6'3s, so that puts Billy Moon a little bit different. I don't know that he's ever put it in the 6'2s.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But Preston Hicks is a
sure
good
he's
name when
gonna
you
text me right
think
now,
about
so.
that, right? But we're talking about elite motorized ladder climbers,
Right.
Who maybe didn't have.
Well, I feel like if you're not going to put the times up in 3-man, your resume in B&C ladder just has to be that much deeper, right? And it's
yeah,
possible
absolutely.
After 2021, that Ducky has firmly planted.
Oh, his yeah. I mean, his numbers and the stats and the points he's put up in the state drill is it's extremely impressive.
Right.
And I think
the consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think kind of separates Ducky is his mental prowess, and what I mean by that, he doesn't seem to get flustered, man.
Yeah.
He's got ice in his veins. I talked to him in the offseason just like, how do you feel before a shot? Like, do you get all worked up? Because I was notorious for getting worked up, right? Butterflies, everything's going, feeling the quan. Ducky said to me, he put it in such a way that I had to laugh. He said, you know what racing is, Twan? He's like, I'm the entertainment for a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old men. And when he said that, I'm like, oh.
Ouch. Yeah, you're right. Ouch.
Oh, yeah. That does make it a little bit more easy to think about, right?
Yeah, zoom out, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, who's your therapist?
And
you know?
the truth is this: is that I think that we're all family guys. Kevin was not, right? And I think that when you grow up watching the game, it's harder to climb the nerves that come with that day.
I think you understand the importance and the pressure of your position and what it means to the team.
And the repercussions of if this goes well or not, right? The thing that you dreamed about. I'm sorry. As a kid, I acted out the 1986 Jesse Orozco throwing a globe up in the air, and I did Chucky Doyle celebrating on top of the arch in 1990. Like I did both of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like they were equal to me.
Right.
You know? And to get to a point where I could have a shot to be part of a group that would be able to do those things, it's hard to get your head out of that, and I think just for kids who dream it, as opposed to a guy who shows up and says, I'm gonna win. I don't care, let me win now, you're just easier to dismiss those silly feelings, but now to me, Mike Passero would be a guy on your list there. He is right at the edge already with what he's been able to do for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
In state drills. And he's, what, 26?
Yeah. He, the one thing about Mike, I'll tell you. Yeah, no, he texted me. He's 27 in May, so he's 26 right now. He'll be 27.
Right,
Happy almost birthday. The thing about Mike, too, he's humble. Every time I text him I texted a lot of these guys, give me some of your highlights. He's a humble guy. He's like, I got to give credit to all the guys on his team. They do the
right thing.
He did the Eli Manning answer. He did the Jeter thing, right? He knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
Started climbing B ladder in 2014, started C ladder in 2015. Scored in state in 3-man, 13, 16, and 17. So there's a check right there. Scored in the state in B ladder, 16, 17, and 19, including a 4. 494, he's actually got 2 4s. If he runs another one, that puts him on an elite list because only Preston Hicks, A-Rock, John Short, and Michael Mara have 3 4s or more. He's only 1 away, and he's 27.
Wow.
Right? Wow. That's saying something. I mean, you look at these numbers, you look at that 4, he's got multiple. He also runs 3rd man, fastest time is 6:39. Not terrible. maybe get that down in the low 6'3", 6'2", and then he's in the conversation for one of the best all-over ladder climbers. Right.
Point Pleasant, that's one of the difference makers for them when it comes to the state drill is could they dip their toe into 3 points at the state drill in 3 men? Right. And he knows it. He knows those last couple of hundredths could make a huge difference.
He's saying the big thing really for him is just the get-on time, the mount time. Try to get it down to that 4.1, 4.0 range.
Since Joe Boy, if you watch he's almost hurting his momentum. He's on the ladder so early, but he's so good at climbing regardless of momentum. He's actually moving quicker and faster. He doesn't need the ladder to pull him up.
Right.
He's taking 2 steps and he's going backwards.
Yeah.
Watch video of Mike do slow-mo and see how quickly he's on the ladder. It's impressive, and he's got a couple tools to make that happen. He's a smaller guy. Like there are things that he's using to make it possible, right?
And knowing Mike, I know the one thing he wants to work on this year is consistency. Last year there were slips, there were misses. Bone out of ladders last year in the state drill. First place shot and belows, right? They could put those pieces all together, and that's just reps, consistency, and I have no doubt in my mind that he'll be back in the mix this year with him. So, the other name, that we were talking about is like the top 3, Josh Kaysen, right? Yep. I mean, if you look at his numbers, started out with East Islip. Do you remember that he raced with East Islip? Do people remember that?
Yeah.
Like that one year he was putting up 8.7 after 8.7 after 8.7.
8.8 after 8.8 and C ladder, it seemed like week in and week out.
That's like
they were so dialed in that contest.
Yep. I don't think anybody looks prettier climbing a ladder.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the best way possible than Josh Kaysen. When he goes, right, it's beauty,
Yeah.
And I think he's got the most to prove when it comes to taking this next step.
Yeah.
And he knows it too, right?
Well, he's the guy now. Now you talk about the guy that grew up with it.
I was just going to say the same thing.
So he's on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Comes from a family that's been around it since the 50s, 60s. So he gets the other side of it. I thought this year when I saw him in person, it looked the best I've seen.
I think you're right.
He just, to me, there was a zone there. It was just, I found the zone and I'm in the zone.
Right.
And I was very impressed.
The Iceland Wolves raced lights out at the state drill this year. They were probably the best team. They had the second best team last year at the state drill, but they were probably the best team in the last 5 years. They could have won any other state drill. They put those runs up. They are there.
Yep.
And there was no. They got to pump and they missed pump and efficiency and pump. But before that, they just bing, bing, bing. All 4 motorized and 3 men. They just put it up.
The thing that stands out to me in talking about the maturity of Josh Kaysen last year is scored in all 3 contests in the state drill. First 3 contests of the day, they got a point. It's the first time he's done that. 6:35 3-man ladder for the win. 5:20 second place in B ladder, and then an 8:80 for the win. 14 out of 15 in the state drill, and lost.
Right.
That's
and we talk
they
about
didn't lose it. They
15.
didn't. They got right. North Lindy won it. Right. That type of mentality. North Lindy won it. Islip didn't lose it.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But go ahead. They cut you off.
But if you're coming out of ladders with 14 or 15 points, like the assumption is
Get
that
10
it was
more.
yours to lose.
Yeah.
But I believe that North Lindy had 11. So they were right there. They were ready to go too. So I'll tell you right now, I have it here. North Lindy had 11 coming out of ladders with Islip's 14. And they're again 14-11 and Islip's 31. North Lindy has 32 on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk, maybe the last thing we'll do today is we'll talk about, I got a little thing about where that state drill fits into history, where we will talk.
Oh, yeah, we got that on the agenda, too, I know.
I mean, if that's okay, we'll do that last.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Last thing, I also ask these climbers, how do they stay in shape, right? So Josh, as you know, get in the octagon, right? That's why we're talking so nicely about him, because, hey, he's a kickboxer.
Right.
So this will be his 33-year-old season. He's in the prime of his life. Good things coming from him this year, we hope. Moving on, I mean, we got a couple more to mention. I want to give, some credit to these guys. Billy Holton is the question mark. I was texting him the other day. Again, I told you now he's got 3 kids, so it's a little. I've always had a lot of admiration for people who have raced with kids. JoJo did it all those years. Mikey Mara's done it all those years. I didn't. I didn't have kids until 2015.
You were out of here.
That's right.
I quit.
I don't know how people do it. So I think Billy's dealing with a little bit of that, but scored in the state drill and 3-man ladder 9 times, B ladder 2 times, C ladder once. Started climbing in 05 for Copeg. Started West Sayville in 2015. Bunch of team records with the Copeg Yellowbirds. A couple first place shots in 3-man ladder in the state drill with West Sayville, and consistency really with West Sayville and scoring points in those first 3 events. So if Billy's there, West Sayville will be in the mix.
I have a Billy Hothen thought. Okay, the West Sayville Flying Dutchman. Billy, let's say it takes him until June to get back, okay? In that time, if they could find a Hydra man and take him out of hoses, because he's a good Hydra man, but I almost feel like his focus is off of ladders sometimes, where like, if you could just let him be the ladder climber for the Dutchman, and they find a guy who can run Hydra for them.
Yeah, and let's face it too, he's not a spring chicken either.
No.
So if you can relieve some races from guys, he was a bubble gum card guy, say in Copeg. He's been a bubble gum card for the majority of his career. Not a lot of guys do that for an extended period of time, and eventually it catches up on you, and it helps you to pull out of a contest or two.
Right. Right. Michael, it took him forever to do it. He finally figured out a way to get out, and once he chose with the last 3.
And he's also a rare breed.
Yeah. He's a unicorn. But anyway, who else is on? Who's the next guy?
You want the next guys? All right, here's one. Steve O'Neill, Oyster Bay Teddy's boys, right?
Pretty.
I was having fun texting with these guys during the week. Started racing in 2012. Took over right away. 5:31 wins B ladder at the state drill in 2018. That's his highlight right there. Fastest time at B ladder, 5:18 at Merrick a couple years ago. 9:21 in C ladder is his best. He runs third man, 6'5", 6'4", kind of been in that range. The funniest story that he told me, though, is how he gets in shape. How he's getting in shape this year for racing. Quote, I had lost my fantasy football league, so this year I need to run a marathon. So, right off the bat, I like this guy. You know what I mean? So, usually starts climbing the wooden ladder in January, February. He's got a half ladder in his shed, does workouts all winter long, cardio. So, he's got all the tools that he needs, and he's motivated, and he's actually putting in the time to get better.
I like it.
So, we'll see where Stevie O'Neill can, what he can do to add to his resume coming forward. Another name to add to that list is from the North Belmore Rinky Dinks, Joey Corcoran. Again, had a good text conversation with him. Him and his brother raced together. They're in their early 30s. Joe started climbing for the Rinky Dinks in 07. Scored in the state drill last year in both B and C ladder. One of the cool things about that, Artie, were you at the state last year?
No.
So the thing I remember about the North Belmore shot at the state drill 2021, they pull up to the line, but then they had to back off the line.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so now you have to wait. Now you're being iced.
Right.
They run their shot, and then I'm pretty sure it was a rerun?
Correct.
So the first shot didn't count.
Right.
We're talking 5-1s, potential low 5-2s.
Yeah.
Gets back on the line, has to run it again, and puts up his shot once again. Not quite as fast as it was the first time.
Correct.
But the fact that he was able to maintain composure through all of that and still put up a 5:30 for third place for the Rinky Dinks says a lot about that guy, Joey Corcoran. I was talking about Joe last year in North Belmore, how they were iced in B ladder. Yeah. Remember, they iced, pulled off the line, they get a shot. Good shot, time clock error, come around, run it again, put up a 5:3.
Right.
So little things like that I've seen out of him. He's put it in the 9-1s. 5:07, last shot of the year at the McCaffrey.
Yeah. He
has put it in the 5.0s. That checks one of those boxes off of that list of elite ladder climbers. So looking for good things for Joe. So we talked about Steve O'Neill, Joey Corcoran. The other newbie we're talking about is Josh Russo. Maybe not such a newbie, but new enough. Justin Russo. I don't know why I said Josh. Is that a guy from WWE? Oh, no, I'm thinking of someone else. Forget it.
Russo.
No, Justin
Vince
Roberts.
Russo.
Vince Russo? Anyway. Sorry, Justin. I know you're listening. He's 30 years old, be 31 in June. Been racing since 2010. Helped restart the Farmingville Bandits. He's been running 3-man ladder since 2012. Now 660 is his best. 3-man's not necessarily where it needs to be right now for that elite conversation, but his motorized climber numbers are there a little bit more. Climbed 2017, 2018. 2020, he said, was really his first year focusing on climbing and running both. Best time in B ladders at 5.5, C ladders at 9.3. Still room for improvement, but those are numbers that have been scoring points. Justin Roberts, Farmingville Bandits, had someone to keep your eye on.
Russo,
I did it again.
Justin Roberts is the guy who
in WWE, thank you. Russo.
Which is awesome, by the way. I love that you're messing that up.
Sorry about that, Justin Russo. My bad.
You got Benny the Jet on there?
Yeah, so, Benny the Jet. You know his real name's Brian? So I got the number from Chris the other day, and I sent him a text out of nowhere, like, hey, I'm Twan from the Yellow Hornets, you know who I am? And
he said no.
He's like, what? Who's this guy? Never heard of you, bro. So,
yeah, hey, bro.
So he gave, right.
My number.
Yeah.
You need any help?
Yeah.
He's one of these guys like
motorized.
That's right. You're right.
Were the trucks motorized yet?
Yeah. He's one of these guys like had no idea what racing was until he saw it. Right? You get guys that are grown into it. He's not one of these guys. And the story goes, the guys in East Islip brought them down to watch Wes Sable practice one day. Got there a little late because he was coming from work. As they were running C ladder, saw one shot, knew he had to do it.
Awesome.
By 2020, he was running 5th place in the 2019 State Drill in C ladder with a 9:44. Fastest time in C ladder, 9:11. Fastest B ladder, 5:50. He runs third man, put it in the 6.6s. But again, 22-year-old kid.
Oh,
right?
22.
Young kid.
The abilities.
And
there.
it's there.
Oh, yeah.
He's already put up those numbers that a 22-year-old kid needs to put up.
The 8-9 machine of East Islip continues, Tommy Dry was an incredible driver, and we'll get him in there.
Yeah.
He's just got to make it happen. The question I think for them is, can they? Because East Islip has always been. I think that
he's a Sable guy. I mean, Benny's a Sable guy.
True. Yeah.
Because of the merger, so he's a Sable
fireman.
Right, and he's part of the merger.
Right. But East Islip has struggled to crack the 5.0. I think their team record's 5.13.
Yeah, right? and I think part of even with that merger, I think part of they've been having trouble, I think, maintaining guys in those other spots around him, throwing and digging and stuff like that. Yep. So hopefully they'll get a little bit more consistency in that, because it seems like there's been a revolving door. It's who's throwing in 2 weeks from now,
right.
So if they can settle in on that, I think it's going to help him a little bit.
I think you're right.
And stuff like that. So,
couple more names out there. Sorry.
No, go.
Couple more names out there, then we'll wrap up this segment. Chris Brandt, I believe his name from Copiague.
Yes.
Brandt,
Yeah.
Bryant. Okay.
Unbelievable straight ladder climber.
I mean,
Right in the back
exactly.
of the patch,
He's the best guy we have right now to climb a vertical ladder.
Unbelievable.
He always does it. It's incredible, and he gets points out of it.
Yeah, and he's put up some nice numbers in the back of the patch.
Yeah. If Charlie can keep him a foot off the back line, he's gonna dominate. He's gonna be okay.
31 years old this year. Checklist things. First place in the state drill and 3-man ladder, 2015 with a 6:33. 3-man, 3 consecutive top 5 finishes, 15, 16, and 17. Personal best, 5:32 in B ladder, Hagerman last year. 9:25 at the Town of Babylon in 2018, and if you want to include the Hunter, which I do, even though it's non-sanctioned, 9:07 C ladder last year at the Joe. Again, a climber to keep our eye on. He's already had it there with 3-man. Can he take that next step in the consistency with B and C ladder? Can it go from those 5.3s to the 5.2, maybe 5.1? And can we get a consistent 9.0 out of him? And then Chris Brandt will be a name that we're going to have to get ourselves memorized, one of those household names in racing.
Yep.
The 2 guys I have left, I don't actually have a name. I have, quote, Seabreeze kid. And the reason I bring up the kid from Seabreeze is because...
Hey, sorry, man.
Do you know the name?
I he's an idiot.
Hey, this is Twan.
Hey,
Seabreeze
my
kid.
number.
Well, listen, I'm going to reach out to him. Hey, are you the Seabreeze kid? I'm Twan from Hempstead?
What kind of name is Twan?
It's actually Anthony Simone, but long story.
I'll photobomb you. Go ahead, keep going.
Here's some numbers for Seabreeze kid. Now, this is what I'm saying, right? We need to know these names, right? These kids deserve to have their names out there.
And we don't.
And I apologize, and it's our fault, but we're going to get to the bottom of this. But here are the numbers. 3-man ladder, 656, 665. I mean, something to build off of, right? That's what caught my eye. That's 6.5 at the 2018 Main Transit Invite. B ladder, 542 last year at the 2020 Point Pleasant Invite. 547 555.
Yeah, you're dipping in. Yeah.
Okay, those are the numbers that start to be like, okay, this kid's got something.
Right.
958 in sea ladder in 2016. I think that was him. That's the only question mark I really have. I don't know if that was him or someone else. I think it would be, but the only reason that would be under question is because the other numbers I mentioned are 2018 and on.
Right.
So that's from 2016. Again, we're talking about 5-6 total shots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But where does it go from there?
And he's going to have a lot of competition this year, so it's going to be interesting to see how Seabreeze puts their mark on Western. They're low key getting better every year. So let's see what they can do with the rest of these teams that seem to be putting it together all at the same time in Western.
We talked about Josh Marshall. We're going to talk about two other people. The kid in the hobos last year, motorized guy.
Yes.
What's his name?
He don't have a name.
He doesn't have a name. Hobos kid.
Yeah, he's Voldemort.
Came out firing hot in Lindenhurst.
Yeah.
And then again at Labor Day. That's key.
Richie Arnett.
Right? There you go, Richie Arnett.
I'll tell you about Richie Arnett, 18 years old, Bayshore High School quarterback, and we don't talk about Bruno. We're going to talk about Bruno later. Was his dad, who actually passed away, is a big part of his life, was with Central Islip for a while, and Richie was racing with us on the juniors, and so Richie joined Central Islip Juniors. The kid's an incredible athlete.
Cool.
Climbing Jay Newhoff's ladder. And looking like Jay Newhoff when it's good. Sometimes it's not good. Sometimes it is. But this is what the hobos have decided. We're going to commit to this guy. And there's a lot of talent on the hobos who could be ladder climbers.
And let me ask you a question. I was going to say, Eric Miller, does he ever get on the motorized ladder?
Eric Miller and Richie both were taking shots last year. Richie has the height. He's got those tools, which we have generally relied on. If you have it, we'll use it. But don't slouch on Eric Miller. Eric Miller has scored 3 or more points in the state drill in 3-man 5 years in a row.
And Eric Miller also has a top 20 overall shot in the history of 3-man ladder in the state drill with a 624 at the 2019 state. The kid's got it.
And he lets. You want to talk about ice in the veins? He's got that Ducky ice in the veins kind of thing. I've seen him.
He's keeping 3-man ladder real.
He's like he goes like Ghost. He just the eyes roll back in his head. He just goes Undertaker style.
Yeah.
So
like you're saying, 646 third place in 3-man ladder in the state. I'm going to go through Eric Miller's time. 624 first, 639 for second back in 2018. Working my way back to 2017. 641 for second, fourth place in 2016. So there, and then fifth place in 2015.
Wait, let's see it. Wait, hang on.
You got it. I don't know. How old is this kid?
No,
Now I'm getting. When did he start?
Brian Kessler decided
isn't that crazy? That's crazy to me.
Third man anymore. And literally, Dan Murphy said, "I don't want to be the third man anymore." Brian Kessler became the third man.
I know.
Centralized for 8 years.
Right.
And usually, for whatever reason, that guy also holds the nozzle and efficiency. I guess I don't know how it works.
That's hilarious.
So maybe Eric should run nozzle at this point. But Brian basically was like, I'm gonna let the young guy go. And Eric has let it hang out every single year ever since. Stephen, what is it? 2018?
Imagine a Miller running nozzle and efficiency over there.
Well, okay. So 2018, then
we had one shot at it. We had one Murphy.
Sorry to step on Kessler's toes there because he was good, but you're right. 18, 19, 21, 3 in a row.
Right.
39, 24, and 46.
Yeah.
For no fewer than 3 points.
Right. And this year's 3-man was deceptive. It was actually a real good contest. I don't have it in front of me real quick, but
Time of the year though.
Everybody was timed. It was like 3 times were times.
3-man was a good contest this year.
It was a great state drill this year. It was a great contest, and that's the thing I think that we're going to see, right? We've almost always felt with 3-man that the times that come out of 3-man sometimes feel a little less than
little pet peeve of mine a couple of years ago.
Right. We have kind of like a downturn a little bit, but it is all just.
It's gotten better.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, people were accepting 670.
I'd like to make a decree.
5th place 670, and that's just what the game was.
That's not acceptable.
But nobody cares if there's a 9.5 in efficiency. It's 3-man. We measure the game by 3-man sometimes, right?
I don't want to hear that a 6.5 is a good shot anymore. I don't want to hear that a 5.5 or a 5.4 B ladder is a good shot ever again. I don't want to hear it. It's time to set up this crop of racing climbers to get back to where it was, where 5.2 scores. If you run a 5.5, you're out. You're not scoring ever. That's what I want. That's what I want from this new crop. 5.5 is no longer a good shot in racing. I don't want to hear it. It's BS. It's a terrible shot. You're slow as shit.
I'm going to put a
Start getting up to the top of the ladder and grab that rung.
I'm going to put a rule change in next year that if 549 and under, like 550, you don't even get points anymore. So if only 4 teams do it,
And we just
nobody gets a point.
The 3 teams score, and that's
Only
it.
3, that's it.
That was, by the way, folks, that was Twan's Stephen A. Smith moment for
Thank
the
you.
evening.
Back after this.
All right. And we're back.
Do we have time for one more segment, or
You want to do it? I mean, that's up to you guys.
Last thought. Matty Mara getting some shots for West Sable?
I want to talk
Matty Mara?
Listen.
Third generation Mara?
Yeah, God bless. But, like,
All right.
let's see what you do. All right?
That gave me so much.
45 minutes in.
Go ahead. What do we got?
He will appreciate that I'm saying let's like do something. Let's go. Do something.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
If we'll do a quick short segment.
We don't have to do it. I'll hold it for next time if you want.
We can hold it.
We got another show coming up?
No, I'm just saying.
We're doing the night before Lindy? Is that a thing? Listen, I'm going to go either way.
Is that a tease?
I don't know.
lead-in?
I saw it on the group chat. I don't know. It's just.
All right, here's the segment we're talking about. We want to talk about the top 10 state drills since 2000.
Since 2000.
That was our arbitrary number, just because we got 20-something drills, state drills. Okay, but this is the big question? Where does last year's state drill fit in with the greatest state drills of all time? Chad from Iceland is like, it didn't exist. Let's do it. Let's just do it quick and then
we'll just talk about 2021. If we're going to go all
We're
time.
going to add to this too. Who knows what 2022 fits, right?
Right, but we'll just talk about the 2021 state drill all time. I think it's in the top 5 conversation.
I'm going to give you my 10 to 1. And then you guys tell me why this is a bad idea.
But you're going all time or just the last 20?
This is in the last since 2000.
Oh, since 2000.
The greatest state drills since 2000.
Y2K and on.
All right? Since Y2K. All right? So, number 10. Top 10 list. Number 10, greatest state drill since 2000 is the 2001 state drill at Merrick. The greatest numbers of all time.
Too low on the list.
Right.
Way too low.
Too low on the list?
Way too low.
We ran a 5:15 and we didn't score in B ladder. So it's
We ran a 5:17. We got 7th that day.
Best B ladder time never to score.
Yeah. It's
That is
5:16.
correct. No, it's 5:15.
I'm sorry.
5:15.
5:15. I'm sorry, the Hobos ran at 5:29. That was 8th place for the day.
Well, what do you want to do? You want to do your list first, and then we'll debate and tell you why you're wrong, or you want to debate right
We're here
now?
all day if we're telling him why he's
Go
wrong.
through my list. Go through the list. All right, I'll give you. All right.
Is that Fred over there?
Hey,
Is Fred back?
Relax, Freddie.
Yeah, that new High Park shirt stretched out, man. God damn.
All right, here we go. 2001, the greatest numbers of all time. Okay. 2009,
We don't talk about 2009.
All I'll say is came down to buckets.
It was a beautiful day. The sun was in everyone's eyes except for the yellow. All right. Sorry.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you
We're
know.
gonna let it go. Anyway, number eight. Top 10 state drill since 2000. I call it 2007 Shootout Vengeance. Okay?
That was a good one.
2007 Shootout Vengeance, okay? 2006, the Hempstead Yellow Hornets steal one from West Sable.
Whoa.
2007, West Sable with a gun to their head with Hempstead running an incredible shot to
2098.
2098 for 5, and West Sable 2 teams later blacks out like Will Ferrell in old school and runs a 21-68, good for 3, and they take the W. Like, no nonsense, walk right back to camp, pack this shit up, we're going home.
That one hurt.
2007 Vengeance for the shootout, okay? Number
7.
I lost track.
Number 7.
Number 7. How many beers we have? 7 beers? Number 7, 2015, the tie.
I have it higher on the list.
Much higher.
Higher on your list. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Ugly drill for the most part, but why is it an ugly drill? Because Selden decided to pave the track 2 weeks before the tournament. That's why it was a terrible drill. Nobody could stop the trucks. It was a free-for-all. It was a mess.
Yeah, you know what?
14.5 points wins the drill.
That's not a bad point.
That's a nightmare.
That's not a bad point.
It's not a bad point.
It's a good
But 8
point.
teams going into buckets.
Exciting. It was definitely exciting. I don't know that I love that it was a tie, but exciting nonetheless when you had 8 teams that had a shot.
Yes.
Like the Quebec Yellowbirds had a shot to be state champs that day if they run a bucket shot.
8 teams
right?
going into buckets. That's right. And it was a good show. But yeah, I agree. The tie is almost
that kind of ruins it for me.
We've always felt that way a little bit, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Interestingly about that tournament, 3-team tie in 3-man for second place. Okay, Bayshore, Lindy, Copeg.
Copeg wins it.
Wait, West Sable, Lindy, and Bayshore.
Correct.
If West Sable runs that shot 100th faster or 100th slower, the result's different that day.
Right.
I always think about that. Yeah, pretty wild, right? So, all right, number 6, 2012. The double Cinderella story.
That's a good one.
Roslyn, West
Double
Hampstead.
Cinderella story. All right? Let's
Nassau.
recap it real quick. So, West Hampstead, 17 points out of B-Hose. Roslyn has 15. Roslyn, out of nowhere, blacks out, scores 4 points in efficiency. They got 19 points with 2 contests to go. West Hampstead misses in efficiency and pump. Roslyn missed pump. They're up 19-17 going into buckets. West Sable is in the shadows with 13, right? They scored 2 in pump. They're in the mix. They could do something. Finally, West Hampstead running number 46 with it all on the line, never putting... No, this is an incredible. Yeah, thank you. Hey, do me a favor. Just. Wait. I hope that's on camera. It is on camera, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so 46. West Hampstead runs a 23:08 to take 3. I'm pretty sure Andrew tripped to climb. Anyway, we're not talking about that. I thought he stumbled a bit. Anyway. Roslyn's got 9 teams later. They put up a Hail Mary, but they never ran buckets. They knew they were done. As soon as
that was the day they needed some more bucket numbers, right? And then the Highlanders were talking as state champs of 2012 potentially. Talk about Cinderella.
And,
a lot of good guys on that team though that year.
Cinderella story. That's number 6 on my list. Agree or disagree? We're gonna keep going. Okay.
Had a little bit lower, but it's okay.
All right, you ranked it down. That's fine. Okay.
What'd you say after 12?
After 12, number 5.
Oh, you didn't do it yet.
2018 made the best team win, and I hope it's the Redskins.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
It's the greatest story ever told.
Storyline's unbelievable.
I love this storyline. I love this drill. I love Harry Penny at the beginning of it's Harry Penny Day in Deerfield.
Yep.
And that's the line of the day. When the best team win, I hope it's the Redskins. And the Redskins do everything in their power to lose the state tournament in the first 3 contests.
Pretty much, yes.
They'd give it away, all right? They're on the track with, hey, Harry Penny Day. The Redskins aren't even participating in the state drill. We've got a fake C-truck from Lindenhurst. This is a nightmare. They moonwalk into 2 random-ass points in C-Hose, and then they literally just go unconscious for the next 4 contests.
Yep.
Okay? But it didn't matter because you guys had a broken pump in the B-truck. It didn't matter. You guys were running great, right? B-Hose is awesome. Efficiency was sick. You get the pump. And it's not going to work. I mean, listen, we just got to give it a shot, right? But it's not going to work, guys. It's not going to work. Holy shit. The pump works, and we bip the target. We take 5 points. Oh, my God. I mean, it's legendary. I love the story. I loved being there for it. It was incredible. And then here's the best part, though, is that West Sable could still win.
Yeah.
West Sable comes and they run their shot, and Bayshore still has to put up a run in buckets, which they had done all year. But with gun to their head, they delete the ghosts of 2015,
right,
and run that shot.
Yep.
Nothing at the ladders that day, right?
No.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. That's my number 5.
And that was only the only other time I think that happened with the Teddy's boys in
It's
'74.
tough, but
Yeah.
wait, it's hard, guys. It's hard. We have a good 20 years here. Number 4. The Miracle on Weir Street, Central Islip, 2017. It's a homer list. It's a homer list, but the bottom line is Central Islip, after 4 points in 3-man, just literally falls on their own, whatever.
4 teams could win going into buckets that day, if I remember.
Yes.
And down to you and North Lindy at the end.
Teams scored points in 2017.
Yeah.
It is it's the only way to win. If that was, if the only way to. That's what makes it. I don't know.
You think the Wolves are hungry this year?
We're at 17-72 with buckets.
I had it one ahead.
Listen, this is what the discussion's about. I want comments and I want comments.
I had 18 above
on YouTube.
17.
I want you to tell me why I'm wrong. Okay? Yeah, maybe that's a homer list, but fine. Okay. Anyway.
You were getting fucking miraculous football drill and shit.
That's a crazy story. Yeah. Drew McCaffrey passed away 2 weeks before that, right? He's a good friend of mine. We win the tournament. Walking down the track away from the arch, my phone rings, and it's Drew McCaffrey's calling me. He's been dead for 2 weeks. Pick up the phone, no one's on the other line, hang up. That's it.
Really?
Somebody was sending a message that day. It might have been family. I don't care. It's magic, man. I wore the Drew McCaffrey T-shirt for those bucket runs that day. So it was. It's a moment for me. That's why it's higher on the list. I don't care. It's my list. It's my list. Get over it, okay? All right? Here we go. Here's the last three.
Go ahead.
All right? Number 3.
Go ahead.
Number 3. Since 2000, state drills.
Go ahead.
2021, neck and neck.
That's a good one.
For shot.
Yeah, it's
all
up
right?
there.
And I'm putting them higher on the list because of the performance of these guys, the runs that they put up. Like I said before, after ladders, Islip's 14, North Lindenhurst is 11. After hoses, Islip's got 19, North Lindenhurst got 15. 19 out of 25 is a nice number to have, right, Twan?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. North Lindenhurst scores a massive 5 points in efficiency. They both throw pump in the garbage. Watch your mouth. And back-to-back, number 31, number 32 on your scorecards. Islip 2153, North Lindenhurst 2140. It's one of the craziest stories that we've seen. I think it's number 3 in the last 25 years in our history of state drills. 2 to go. Number 2. Number 2. The last drop.
Yeah.
2008.
Great tournament.
Greatest finish of all time, ish.
Yeah.
It's the greatest buckets finish of all time.
Islip New Hyde Park.
New Hyde Park's gonna be state champs. They're gonna monkey off their back.
Yep.
Okay, and my heart still breaks for those guys. Islip pulls out a motor pump shot 583 out of nowhere. If you watch that run that Islip ran that day, they dropped bucket 12. They almost dropped bucket 11. Billy Moon is basically shaking the bucket to get the last drop because he knows 12's on the ground. He gets it. They get a red light on the traffic light. They stop the clock. They win the tournament right there, breaking New Hyde Park's heart. But it's still one of the great finishes of all time.
Scored 24 points in the state drill.
It's a great drill. Great dogfight between those two teams all day.
Yeah.
And first drill that we do on the radio.
That is true.
First drill we do on the radio.
In 2008, that was our first ever radio broadcast.
About 15 minutes before the drill started, Chris came over to me. I was hungover and says, "You want to do it?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It's Artie Suskin, Patch Affairs, and Jim Miller from Centralized. Hey, you guys want to talk on a
First
microphone?
3-man ladder, I called it by I was talking to myself. Called the race by myself.
Now, that was only broadcast to the people in the parking lot, right? It wasn't on the computer or anything,
years
right?
later, we figured out how to
That was
send it out
just
on the internet.
being done around in the camps.
Right.
Last, number 1, greatest state tournament since 2000. What is it?
See on the 9th.
The shootout.
The shootout, right?
Yeah, 2006.
Incredible. And the details people forget sometimes, okay?
Why don't you remind them?
I will. That's bullshit. I remind them of every drill on this list that I'm going to remind them, right? One of the things I love about this drill, right, in Deerfield, okay, New Hyde Park runs a 621, okay, in 3-man ladder that morning, but it's actually a rerun. They had digital error their first shot. They had to put it back on the line. I think the numbers, it was a 6-2 then too, and they put it back on the line, and Frankie and Dom put up another 621. Twan ran a 628 that day. All right? Twan, JoJo, Matt Spinelli ran a 628 that day. But I'll never forget Dom from New Hyde Park getting off the ladder. We've got the 3-man silence, right?
Oh, man.
And if they put that second shot up, my man Dom was so fired up. He's off the ladder like this, and he's like a human cannon just down the line. He's going, boom, baby! Boom!
That is the most cathartic feeling in all racing. When you run a shot like that in the state drilling 3-man ladder, it's insane. And West Sable also had a rerun of 3-man ladder that day, if you remember.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they probably had a 6-3-ish on their first shot. Second shot was a little bit slower in the 6-4s.
Really?
But it might have played with that 628 that we ran.
Right.
You know, and that would have played a big
that would change the math
at the end of the day, right? You know.
So then the rain kicks in.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know, the forecast or whatever, they decide we're not going to run the tournament on Sunday. We're going to run it we're going to go down to Long Island. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, we have Sunday to run the state
No
tournament.
attempt, right? They were worried about mud getting up from the return road onto the street, right?
So
that was the fear.
We just quit, and we finished the last 3 contests,
Yep.
okay? At the end of the first 4, which is actually 3-man efficiency pump and buckets.
Right.
New Hyde, I'm sorry.
10.5.
HYH, Hempstead, 10.5. New Hyde Park, 9. West Sayville, 8. Islip, 8.
Yep.
What a shit.
It was, and now you had to sit with that for a month.
Now, okay.
Like, think about that part of the game.
We're going to finish the state tournament.
Right? Yeah.
We're going to finish the state tournament September 9th.
Yeah.
Okay, see you on the 9th.
See you on the 9th, baby.
Right? And it becomes known as the shootout because we raced the motorized contest to decide who was going to be state champions that day, right? Here's the breakdown. Mike Mara scores 10 out of 10 in BNC ladder. West Sayville Flying Dutchman. All right? Makes his presence known with 18 points now. They're going to be state champs. Come down. Hempstead misses in C-Hose.
What did it have to do with B-Ladder, though? Did you?
We want to talk about that real quick?
What they run? I don't know. 509?
I did 509.
Yeah, thanks.
509.
Cool. Next.
You won the tournament, so, all right? Anyway.
I don't have many 5-0s in the state, team.
Anyway,
that's the only one.
West Sayville puts up a very solid shot in C-Hose.
Yeah.
And the drill is over.
Yeah.
We pull the hose because it ran a little fast in the contest.
Yeah, man.
And in the test after C-Hose, right, they fail the test and get a no time by 1/100th of a second. What drama. Unbelievable, right?
You know, we felt that year we were the team.
It hurt a little bit. Like, you didn't.
And after that C-Hose shot, we were all like, shit.
Yeah.
We didn't do it. You know what I mean? We had a great team that year. And so did West Sayville, honestly.
Yeah.
But, man, I'm thankful for that .01. You know, a lot of people focus on that, but listen, 6'2", 5'0", 8'9", 7'5".
Both teams had an incredible drill.
And a 19 in buckets. Come on. Right. So, there's a lot of focus on that hose time, and I guess there should be, but
those
the numbers were there, too.
Bananas.
You know?
I agree with that. All right? Yeah. West Sayville gets a no time. Going into the B-Hose to name the state drill.
Oh, my God.
It's West Sayville 18, Hempstead 17.5. So guess what? We're gonna have a winner. We're not tying today.
Right.
You know? All right. West Sayville runs a 774. And Hempstead basically.
Well, they run after us.
When that 774 is on the board, no, before you.
No.
I had it before.
No, they ran after us.
Why?
I don't really recall why, but I just, maybe because of the hose test and C-Hose, they were able to go in the back of the pack.
Yeah, they got pushed to the back.
The way that it went down, right? You know, West Hempstead blows the door. 747, what crazy. We run a 755. Well, I wasn't right, but you know what I mean. North Indy, a couple teams later, runs a 758, and we're like, all right, does that help us? It doesn't really do much, because at that point, West Sayville's just got to beat us.
Right.
And we're on the guardrail thinking we got a 755. It's a team record. It's a Yellow Hornet team record.
Right.
And we're still on the edge of our seats.
Team records. Everybody's just like
this is not guaranteed. They're going to put up a 750. Right. Imagine losing 755 and losing with a 750.
And then if that's the case, come down. If I remember right, Frank, he doesn't.
Little off. He kind of had to bring it back.
Frank Miller, one of the greats of all time, and he's got a lot of W's in this list, so I'm not worried about pointing that out. But you still don't know, right? If he's saying they ran after you guys, and it's 7 points, and Bill's going to wait.
Yeah.
And we were all on that guard. Oh, my God. I think I fell to the ground, honestly. Yeah, I remember that, just being like, what a weight. Because we want to know 2, but then it was like, we need another one.
Right.
We need that second one. We had all sorts of things happen in 04 and then
85.
Yeah.
Right? You're competing against the generation before you, so you need your double.
And getting back to not too much, but with the whole ladder climber conversation, it's 6'5", takes points in 3-man. No, you're always competing against the past, and that's the mentality of these ladder climbers need. Compete against the past in your mind. Don't play the racing game. But that's what we were doing there in 06. We wanted to get that second to be able to hang with those 84, 85 guys who still tell us that back-to-back is better than 2. But that's all right. 2's equal to 2. So I like your list, Murphy. I agree with 08. I remember that. It turned into the New Hyde Park and Islip show real quick. After ladders, it was jam-packed. We were winning after ladders. The Cav Trophy came home to Hempstead that year. Yeah. And
Cav Trophy is for total points in all 3.
That's correct. Right?
It's the first 3 contests for everybody at home.
That is correct. Okay. And actually, if I remember correctly, we might have. Oh no, I thought we tied with Westbury in C ladder.
Yep.
But then again, after B-Hose, I'm good. It was the Islip New Park show right to the end, and I mean that is some finish. The way that you talk about the 06 finish, I mean I'm a little biased there, but I think I'm actually agreeing with your top three. I like
those three Joes were my top three.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that order.
Yeah, I'm really torn on the
2021 was good, man. I know.
06, it's an amazing.
It was weird.
2008 to me was.
It was all there in one day, one setting.
Yeah. And just the way they was going at it all day. Because I think that's also that's the year Islip gets the rerun and B ladder. If I'm not.
I feel like it was 5-0 right off the bat.
Yeah.
503.
I don't remember
That's
that.
a different one.
Yeah.
But I hear what you mean. You know, when you talk about 06, the negative about it would be like a lot of those upstate teams weren't able to make it to Hempstead. So you have like a Spencerport that could have been a monkey wrench in that B ladder contest, that C ladder contest. They weren't there.
Right.
And so that could have changed the outcome of the day. So it kind of felt a little funny. And honestly, you know the worst thing about the 06 state drill? No parade.
No place to drink afterwards.
No parade.
Yeah.
That's it. Back to work.
Go home.
Back to work. See you.
The parade is a big part of feeling like a state champ.
Yeah.
Okay. You win.
I mean, there's nothing like walking through.
Yeah.
We didn't get that.
There's nothing like walking through your peers.
That's right.
And being in the front.
Right.
And yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yep.
If I could go back to your list. Okay, so we agree on the top three. 2001 to me. It might not have had the drama, but I think that is the pinnacle of racing. I mean, first of all, we're all young, right?
Well,
I mean, 2001.
Yeah.
I think at that moment in history, you had so many different teams who were good to great. The depth among racing in 01, 02, 03, that range, it was incredible.
Yeah.
You know, you had your West Sable, your New Park, your ISIP, your Eastside, your Spencerport, your Patchogue. You know, your Highlanders were the County Point champs in 2000. You had a ton of teams who could score heavy numbers. Listen to this. Did you ever look at the three-man ladder rundown in 2001? Listen to these times that didn't score.
I have.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Elmont, 650. Thanks for coming. North Belmore, 644. Nothing. Manhasset Lake, 651. Nothing. Islip Wolves, 650. 0. Dead End Kids, 655.
Farmingville, 650.
Patchogue, 661. Farmingville, 650. Merrick, 654. Roslyn, 652. All out of the money.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 15th best time that day
would have won three-man ladder a couple of years ago.
70. Right, 15th best time.
Right. And I think if you're just looking at the numbers, I mean, if you tell any team right now, right, that, if you
I love it.
You think about your line for the day in running the perfect state drill. And if you go to any team right now and say, all right, here's a crystal ball. At the end of the day, here's what your line's going to look like. You're going to run a 644 in three-man ladder, 512 in B ladder, 896 in C ladder, 1288 in C hose, 778 in B hose, 890 in efficiency, 658 in motor pump, and a 2193 in buckets.
That's a perfect.
You're saying you're state champs, right?
Yeah.
If you run that line at the 01 state drill, you have 0 points. You don't score one point.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So the drama wasn't there because the fact that West Sable swept ladders that day it's incredible. It's incredible.
And they did it as a three-peat.
Yeah, that's right.
They did it with the three-peat on the line, which to me is the most incredible part. That is the greatest day of racing of all time.
It's unreal.
Again, my list is more for the drama, more for the storytelling. But that day, that's why it's at the bottom of my list, at least for.
And if I get a little sentimental for a reason, it's 3 weeks before the world changed, man. And you know, I remember Joe.
Like
I remember Joe. It was a different lifetime. I remember Joe Hunter sitting in the bleachers that day. He wasn't racing with the Rascals that year, and Kevin Conner were like, "What are you doing, Joe?" It's like, just hanging out, you know, smoking, chill. Yeah, I mean, it's just the Rascals weren't there that day.
Different lifetime.
But it's.
You touched on that era of racing. I feel like that 96 to 2002, 2003, that 6-7 year period. Right. Most drills that you went to were a dogfight.
Yeah, right.
It was just an all-out brawl because there were 10 teams that you were in a brawl with every week.
Right. And they were all also trying their best because at some point, we don't change the amount of points you get, right? It's only 5. So like the door can only be so far open.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you got to all of a sudden you got to run a 775. Well, guess what? There's teams taking bigger chances to run a 775 and be hosed.
Yeah.
Because they have to do it, and their ability to be successful is way less than being able to run an 8 flat every
time. The philosophy of racing was so different.
You had to let it all hang out.
You had to, because a lot of times you could score 7 points in ladders or 6 points in ladders, and you're down 8 or 9.
Right.
So you have the only way you can make it up is go for team records every shot.
Right. Just to go a little bit more on the on 2001. There's 13 nines run that day. CO is actually a light day.
Yeah, that was the one stinker.
Yeah. Well, except for the 1276 by the Centralized Hobos. So the Centralized Hobos were at 1276 and a 777.
Right, 3 points.
With a plucky young 18-year-old Hydra man named Chris Murphy.
Unreal.
And we scored that. We ran that 777. I'm blowing kisses to the crowd.
I'm sure.
All right.
I'm here to stay.
I'm like, I'm going in. I'm taking my shirt off, running down the track. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm shooting T-shirts into the crowd, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. Like, right. No, I'm not kidding you. Within 10 teams, we were in 5th place. Okay. It was. All right. So we ran. I'm sorry. We ran. All right. That's not fair. We ran 20, but the way it felt to me, and I'm obviously wrong. We were on the board at 20. We must have had the fold.
Yeah.
Okay. The teams that beat us, 41. It's Lindenhurst running number 41, 775. Patchogue runs a 752 at number 46.
Heavy now.
Roslyn runs a 764 at number 62.
Yeah.
Hempstead runs a 774 at number 51.
Without JoJo.
Who ran Hydrant?
JoJo was injured that year where he had an issue with his heel. He fell off the ladder right before Hagerman in B ladder at practice, and he had bruised heels. He was taking like horse tranquilizer injections, and that's part of the reason why he missed in B ladder that day and only put up an 8-9 in C ladder.
Wow.
We missed in C hose, and Andrew Madelon, our former Hydra man from the late 90s, he ran Hydra that day, and he freaking lit it up. It was unreal. Yeah. And then you go to that Roslyn Highlander shot, and you just think Stan Dybus and Judy De Silva, doing that thing. Right. They were a great hose team there.
I remember us running the shot, and by the time we got back to the camp, because we were talking and stuff, we went from 1st place to 5th place with a 777. We're like, fuck, man.
Unreal.
Sorry, guys, but
welcome to the big leagues.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go ahead, kid.
One final thing about that day, that the Yellow Hornets run an 892 in efficiency that day. We don't take a point. That's the first 8 in efficiency to not score a point ever in the history of racing. That number has been beaten since then. But the first 8 to not score in efficiency,
Man, that's brutal.
And, we're still waiting for the first 8 to not score in C ladder. We're still waiting for the first 5 to not take a point in motor pump. Those things have not happened. That was the day in 8 in efficiency didn't score.
Every time you run a 5 in motor pump in history, you scoring.
It has scored.
Stop.
Correct.
There's been close ones.
A lot of close ones. About 4 close ones.
That contest is really the numbers have.
Yeah, it depends where you are.
Yeah,
of course, naturally.
Right.
But so like for example, that day, St. James won Merrick with pump with a 633.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we'll see this year. It's a great way to wrap things up.
There we go.
All right? We're going back to Merrick. Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Track. I love it.
New bleachers over there?
My favorite.
I know, they were. Scratch that.
Replaced by a natural disaster, apparently. All right, fine.
A hurricane of Hakaranas.
I think that we are going to have a mini 2001 this year. I think the numbers are going to be, because let's be honest, when you put, what's missing right now to me is the hose teams being the 6 to 12 hose team. I think it's going to happen this year, and it's just an instinctive thing. But I think that people realize that they have to race competitively, like you were saying. They have to start taking more chances on the track in order to get in the mix, because no one wants to score 1 point. You want to score 5, right? And I think you're going to start seeing teams start stepping up. But Merrick, just in general, for whatever reason, always seems to bring out the best in everybody.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? It just always seems that teams do. More teams have their track records on that track.
Yeah. Kopeg wins their first drill there.
Their record is 755.
Guys almost got boned that day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was in 2011. Kopeg Yellowbirds win their first drill there. Remember, that's what I was saying. Yellow Hornets almost go bone that day.
Right.
But yeah, listen, I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing what these new climbers can put out there. Not new, but the new crop.
Right.
Steve O'Neill, Joey Corcoran, Justin Russo, Chris Brandt, Brian Ferretti, Seabreeze Kid, Hobos Kid, Matty Mara, and of course.
Put that on the back of a jersey.
the current Mount Rushmore guys. Let's see what they can do.
We killed it.
I think we look forward to Lindenhurst now. The countdown is upon us.
Yeah, countdown's on to Lindenhurst. A lot of fun today here, boys.
Hey.
Thanks to Heavy coming out.
Yeah.
Deal with this triumvirate here. Take notes, Lenny, Billy, and Paul.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I'm saying. All right.
So thanks to Heavy again.
Yeah.
Thanks to Eric, as always. Fatties, Suffolk County officials.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Great night tonight. And,
2022
great
is
turnout
here,
for everybody.
ready to roll.
Let's get back to life, man. Let's get back to normal. Let's see some great racing this year. Thanks, guys. This is great.
Yep, thank you.
Sounds good, boys. See you on the track.
Steven.
Later, my man.
Yeah.
We're good.
Thanks,
Let's
guys.
get some of them fatties wings. Fatties
My wings are 2 hours old. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Good times.